Is it sane? Is it possible? Still I ask myself, are we, am I? In our game, it's not logical, but you contemplate, are we, am I?
Hey, everybody. Hey, it's the Toronto Maple Leafs versus the most irrelevant franchise in North American sports. I didn't say it. And I'll be honest with you, I don't agree with it. But what up, Columbus fans, and what up, Leaf fans? What up, Ripper Nation? Let's go, baby. We got a Leafs game tonight. It is your Thursday night SDPN watch along with Adam Wylde. That's me. You know, I have to do my own announcement here. We're running out of budget. So I have to talk about myself in the third person as I do the intro. And then we party. Listen, I'm excited. It was kind of like so funny watching the Leafs last game because it was sort of like watching the zombie apocalypse. Both of the slowest teams in the NHL, Minnesota Wild aside, faced off in like rock'em sock'em robots if they were covered in peanut butter. That's what last game looked like. But damn, dude, here we are. And we're gonna play the Columbus Blue Jackets now. And you know, listen. I'm not excited about any game these days, except for the fact that every game is kind of fun when you're not really having the highest of expectations. You look at the power plays. Toronto's power play has stunk this year, but Columbus has not been great either. Toronto's penalty kill a little bit better than Columbus, 20th to 29th. Face-off percentage, Leafs are always strong in this category, 55.7%, which is pretty amazing considering that there are like a billion guys out and not a lot of like real centers that they would have expected to play center playing center. The goals against per game for the Toronto Maple Leafs is 31st in the league. The only team that's worse are the Edmonton Oilers. And I got a stat for you. You guys ready for a stat that has nothing to do with this game? This stat is bonkers. It blew my mind last night, and I think it's going to blow yours. So Toronto has allowed 74 goals this year. Okay, the Edmonton Oilers. Toronto's bad. Toronto's bad in the goals against category. Vancouver has allowed 77. St. Louis has allowed 78. Okay, so you're seeing a trend here. By the way, the Boston Bruins, who are basically at the top of the Atlantic Division, they've allowed 73 goals, and yet they're at the top of the division. Very weird year. Very weird. What blew my mind is the Edmonton Oilers have allowed 82. So as bad as you think Toronto's defense has been, and it's been bad, as bad as you think Toronto's goaltending's been, and it's been bad, the Edmonton Oilers have a negative 15 differential in terms of goal scoring. That's with McDavid and Draisaitl in the lineup, and they've allowed 82 goals. Now, you guys must remember last trade deadline when Stan Bowman was asked, hey, Stan, you going to go get a goalie finally? And he was like, no. Why would I do that? Listen, I know they went all the way to the Stanley Cup final. You can't tell me it was because of their goaltending. In fact, I know that it wasn't either year that they went to the finals. Imagine they'd had a slight upgrade. I'm not saying that Stuart Skinner is not an NHL goalie. He's not playing one right now. I'm saying he's not an NHL starter. I'm saying at very least we need a platoon there. I can't believe the Oilers are where they are. It's even more befuddling than the Leafs being where they are. And we got face-off, ladies and gentlemen. You know what? I forgot this. TSN does not run the anthem anymore, which is kind of nice. I really like that. Here we go. Toronto Maple Leafs lines are as follows today. Calle Jarnkrok got a big promotion to the first line. He was on the first power play unit last game. He is now the first line right winger in place of Nick Robertson. William Nylander, John Tavares, Calle Jarnkrok, as we all expected. Bobby McMahon, Max Domi, and Nick Robertson. That's been a line for a year and a half. That's line two. Lawrence Scott Lawton is back in the lineup, and Easton Cowan. That's going to be a fun line. And then Dakota Joshua, Jacob Quillen, and Matthias Michelli. That's line four. And I would expect that line would get a lot of offensive zone starts. You're probably going to see Easton Cowan, Steven Lorentz, and Scott Lawton get a lot of the defensive zone starts along with Tavares. I'm a little concerned about they've got two sort of offensively tilted lines, and neither of them are first line guys. Like Tavares, Nylander, Jarnkrok should get a lot of offensive zone time. And yet, when you've got McMahon, Domi, and Robertson, you can't ever start them in the defensive zone. I don't know. Morgan Riley's at the point right now. McMahon. And look at that. The McMahon, Robertson, Domi line is out there. Now on the Columbus side, forward lines look like this. Voronkov, Fantilli, and Marchenko, Miles Wood, Sean Monahan, Kent Johnson, Cole Sillinger, Charlie Coyle, and Matthew Olivier, who is just nails. Yegor Chinnikov, the best name in the NHL, Luca Del Belbaluz, and Isaac Lundstrom round out the top 12 there. And then Werenski, Provorov, Matejchuk, Severson, Christensen, and Fabro. And for the Leafs on defense, we get another line or another game of Morgan Riley, Ekman Larson, Simon Benoit, Jake McCabe, and Dakota Mermis and Troy Stetcher, who actually looked really, really good. Troy Stetcher specifically really stood out, and his underlying numbers were really great. A lot of scoring chances for when he was on the ice and not a lot against. So, hey, man, for a waivers pickup, we'll take it. We'll take it. My stream is live. Hayden, I just clicked the live button. Hayden's wondering about my streams. I will clap for face off. Don't you worry. How's everybody doing tonight, by the way? I haven't even checked in. Here we go. 18-11. They just fake dropped the puck, so I can't clap. Here we go, Hayden. Get ready. They're kicking Scott Laughton out. That's mean. He just got back into the game, and his first faceoff, he gets kicked out. Lorentz wins it. So who do we think wins tonight? I got a friend at the game in the 300s tonight, and he was saying that the guy he's going with is his neighbor. He's got season tickets, and that he had put the tickets up for sale at less than face value and could not sell them. So he said, if these are not sold by 6 p.m. tonight, you and I are going. Couldn't sell them. People are not happy in Toronto about the Leafs, and the Toronto Raptors happen to be number one in their division. Number one. On fire. They're unbelievable. Unbelievable. A lot of people complaining about this being a regional game. Well, if you got Sportsnet Plus, I know that you can actually watch it via that. It's super, regional restrictions are stupid. We all know that. Seemingly, there's nothing we can do about it for at least the next 10 years because that's the package Rogers bought. Annoying as that is, especially for Leaf fans. I don't even know why you need a regional restricted game here in a non-Canadian team. Like if you're worried about a Toronto audience eating a Calgary audience or a Montreal audience eating a Winnipeg audience, I can understand that. But like it's Columbus on a Thursday night, guys. Just open it up. Let people watch the game. Let people pay to watch things. Don't make it so hard. Marchenko with a shot. Only one shot in this game, and that was, I believe, Marchenko's right there. First shot of the game. John Tavares bringing the puck across the line. He breaks through, gets it to Nylander, and almost was able to put that in. Ooh, that was kind of close. Creating something already. Jet Greaves, by the way, is the starter for the Columbus Blue Jackets. Very good goalie. A little bit out of position on that one. Nylander had a wide open net, but the Columbus D was able to make a good cover. By the way, Blue Jackets fans, I don't know how many of you are actually in the chat yet, but I'm sorry for all the crap you're taking online. I'll tell you this. As mean as some people can be about your franchise, you got mad respect from us at SDPN. All right? I know it's been a frustrating few years. At least you got to beat the Leafs during the pandemic, man. At least you're one of the teams that embarrassed us in the last 10 years. Yeah, and Hayden is saying, like, listen, man, the Sacramento Kings exist. I saw a really funny tweet. They're like, why are they going after Columbus when if you merge the Tennessee Titans and Jacksonville Jaguars, nobody would notice? I thought that was funny, too. I think the reason that Bill Simmons said that, really, is because Bill Simmons is probably not the biggest hockey fan in the world. Plenty of Columbus talk if you're a hockey fan. Plenty. He called the Cincinnati Reds, I believe, the most I think what did he say? They're the least relevant team in Major League Baseball. And, you know, as a Canadian fan, that's where Joey Votto played. So we always paid attention. So maybe it's just, listen, it's just one man's perspective. But it kind of hurts sometimes, you know? You want people to say good things about your city and your franchise. So listen, I can never forgive you for kicking our ass during COVID because the Leafs were the one and only good thing happening at that time. But you got mad love here. Ekman Larson, puck in. This is this Cowan, Lorentz, Laughton line. This is Laughton's first game back since being injured in his second game back from being injured. Scott Laughton had a great training camp. Oh, and we got a penalty drawn by Easton Cowan. Scott Laughton had a crazy training camp. Really, really good. And then immediately gets injured. Breaks his foot on a shot that goes off his foot. Heals that, comes back. The Leafs play their most, I would say, competitive game of the year. I can't even remember who it was against, but it was a Thursday night game. And then immediately the next game on the Saturday night, Scott Laughton gets injured by Nikita Zadorov. And then 2 games later, so the Leafs played the next night and then played Boston again on the Tuesday. We did the stream. And who does Nikita Zadorov take out? Austin Matthews. Nikita Zadorov, he needs to pay for his crimes, okay? Nylander shot in. Jet Greaves with a good save right on the chest. Kind of hope for a tip there. By the way, apparently Calle Yarncroke was chirping Nylander before the game today. They were talking about the fact that, both of them for Sweden, and do you speak Swedish out there to each other? And Calle's like, I don't know. He's a Canadian. Nylander was born in Calgary. He doesn't like to say that he's a Canadian, but he is technically a naturalized Canadian. Tavares down to Nylander. To Tavares, that puck goes a little wide. I think he was looking pass on that. Cowan behind the net. Good to see Cowan up on PP1 here. You've got two real, digging sort of players. And here we go. We've got a breakaway. And thankfully, Joseph Woll is able to turn that aside, and the Leafs immediately give it up and create another opportunity. Thankfully, they're able to block that. Cody says, Adam, do you think we make the playoffs? I think we're going to know a lot about the Toronto Maple Leafs in the next 2 weeks. The next 2 weeks are quite pivotal. And the reason I say that is a lot of guys are injured. I know Lawton's back, but you're talking about Tanev and Matthews and, the Leafs medical staff coming out today. Oh, Anthony Stolar's injury is way worse than we thought. Oh, here comes Cowan. Right to Greaves. Oh, great pass out front to Nylander from Wylde. Greaves is able to turn that away. They've had Jet Greaves out of his net a couple of times tonight. I'll get back to your question, Cody. Shot! And so what you have here with the Toronto Maple Leafs is, do you have guts? And the question when they were more healthy earlier this season was, why do they not have any guts? Now that all these guys are injured, if they start winning, that's a team that found a little bit of guts. And they're going to need to find some more. So I think the way that they play when they're this injured, when they've been playing this bad, when they've only ever had one healthy goalie, one playable goalie, Anthony Stolar's looked terrible. Clearly, he's been injured for a while. Yeah, man, I think this is a heart and soul sort of question. And that the next couple of weeks, we'll find out what they have. Do they have it? I don't think any big trade is imminent. I could be wrong. Those things can change overnight, but it sounds like from the CJ show that Brandon Carlo's name has been out there and Morgan Riley's name has been out there, which is kind of surprising, although, it would require him waiving his no trade. Oh, at least Michelli's going to get a penalty there. Ah, that's a dumb play. You got to move your feet, man. That's Matias Michelli not moving his feet right there. The best chance on that power play for Columbus is Sean Monahan too. Really good play. So yeah, Cody, I think we'll find out in the next couple of weeks. Adam Shearer says, fun stat, Celebrini tied DeBrincat and Stamkos for second in hat tricks before the age of 21. Line is first with 7. What happened to that dude? I don't know, man. Line is such a non-factor in Montreal this year. My question is, he's one of the highest paid players now that's going to free agency this summer. And what kind of contract do you give Patrick Laine? Do you give him a 1-year sort of prove it deal? What happened in Columbus to Patrick Laine? Because he was a rock star when he left Winnipeg. Donald Crunk. What up, Gripper Nation? Hashtag November. Gripper Nation emoji. I love it, buddy. I love it. DG North. Here, have what's left of a gift card, you nerd. Thanks, DG. Appreciate you. $2.35. What was the gift card to? Was it Tim Hortons? By the way, Oshawa Generals and Steve Dangle podcast this Sunday. You can get your tickets in the bio right now. You get to watch the game, and you get to come watch us at Bond Street, which is a killer venue out in Oshawa. It's always so much fun to go see the OHL. And obviously, Hoshi Wang, second-round pick of the San Jose Sharks, is going to be hanging out with us in Oshawa. So come hang out. Come see the boys. We're going to have a party. Get your tickets now because they're going fast. And by the way, Heather dropping 20 SDPN memberships. Heather, thank you. That's awesome. That's awesome. And by the way, if you got a free membership from Heather, you're going to get SDP VIP, which hooks you up with, an extra episode every single week. If you upgrade to the VIP ad-free package, you are going to get yourself 3 ad-free episodes early every single episode of the Steve Dangle podcast plus VIP. And by the way, the VIP episodes are a lot of fun. I've already the VIP usually comes out Friday morning, but because Steve was sick this week, it's going to be a little delayed. I don't know when Jesse's going to get it out, but it'd probably be this weekend. And I've got some great stuff planned. I'm very excited. Haven't got him yet. Yeah. Canadian man says, I wouldn't give Line a cent, but someone will take a chance. You have to take a chance on Line. You have to take a chance, but you have to have a really specialized team to be able to handle him. You've got to have a team that can play defense and has got good vibes and can afford to have a power play specialist. Cool man, Lanny asking the chat, are we cooking? I don't know if we're cooking yet. I don't know if are we cooking yet? I don't know if are we at cooking level? By the way, Scott Lawton with a great play at the Leafs blue line there to get the puck out. They have missed this dude shorthanded. Obviously, Marner's not there anymore. How many more times do we need to say that? So you needed guys to come in and be great penalty killers, and one of them is supposed to be Scott Lawton. Problem is he's played in now parts of 3 games this season. Werenski along the boards. Yarncroke, Murmis, looks like Dakota Joshua and Troy Stetcher out there killing a penalty. Let's go, Troy. Apparently, Troy. Oh, wow. And Fantilli, who has a lot of family in Toronto that always come to Leaf games, and he always lights the Leafs up. Just missed a wide open net on Joseph Wald. Did not have position on him, but thankfully he missed. Another guy who's got a lot of Leaf family friends, Leaf fans that are family, I guess is the better way to say that, is Troy Stetcher. Married, his wife is I guess, has a ton of Leaf fans in her family, and they were pretty pumped to see that he is now a Toronto Maple Leaf, which I thought was cool. Lawton and Lorentz out there killing a penalty again. 8 seconds to go. Michelli is going to come out. Lawton fires it down. The Leafs are going to get a full change here. Great penalty kill looked really good there. And I have not had the chance to say that all season, but the penalty kill, I was really impressed. The difference Scott Lawton makes, truly. If there's any Flyers fans in the chat, you guys know what I'm talking about. That guy is very, very good at that. And William Nylander is going to get an opportunity. Oh, and he trips. I don't think that was intentional. I know the crowd wanted that. I don't think that was intentional, but I think he would have won that foot race. There's no question. Lundestrom in on OEL. Tavares to Domi. Domi gets the puck out. Nylander, Domi. The offensive pressure. Kind of funny that they've got Domi out there. Are they mid-change or have they already switched Yarncroke? Oh, yeah, Yarncroke was killing penalties. So, yeah, it makes sense Domi would be out there. Domi was supposed to be the first-line right winger with Nyes and Matthews. Both Nyes and Matthews are out. Nyes has had a lingering issue. Matthews is, I think, had a lingering issue for 18 months. I will tell you this. If you guys are planning on watching the Steve Dangle podcast tomorrow, we're going to have a pretty frank conversation about how the Leafs medical staff handles injuries and messaging. I'm just prepping you. We're prepping the segment tonight and tomorrow, and we're going to have a chat. And Anthony Petrelli from Maple Leafs Hot Stove has already had this sort of, he's written about this. And I'm going to be quoting his article because I think he's a brilliant reporter. And I'm kind of at my wit's end. And listen, injury bugs bite teams and whatever, but it's been 2 or 3 years of what the hell is going on here? We'll expand a little bit more on it tomorrow. We got a game to watch, but here's Jacob Quillen taking an offensive zone faceoff with Bobby McMahon and Nick Robertson in place of Max Domi, who was playing in place of Calle Yarncroke, who was killing a lot of penalty time. Francois Labelle dropping 5 SDPN memberships. Thank you, Francois. Davey0247. Hey, Adam and admin. Albany, New York, checking in. What's up? Woo! I love hearing that Americans come in. I love hearing where people are coming from. We'll do a city check-in the next time there's a commercial break here. Specters46 says, who's your number one trade target for the Leafs? My number one trade target for the Leafs is Hayden says Brady Shea. I don't think that's a Leafs trade target. I think my number one trade target for the Leafs is heart and soul. I don't think there's a good trade out there for them. I really don't. Unless you can get good value, which CJ thinks you can for Brandon Carlo, and then you can parlay that value into something else or start to rebuild your farm system or whatever. That, I think, is their only real way to trade their way out of this. I think they're going to have to fight their way out of it. And I think that their shitty efforts early in the season really hurt them. I won't let them off the hook. I won't sit here and say they've constructed a bad roster. Maybe it's not a perfect roster. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's this bad the way they've played. I think it's coaching. I think their defense stinks because I think the new systems are taking a while to set in, and maybe they never set in. Beyond that, I don't think that when you're doing this bad that your players are all that marketable in the trades section. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's do a city check-in. Where is everybody coming in from? Hit me up, guys. Let's see. What do we got? Jeff says, I want Mason Marchment. Well, the Leafs wanted Mason Marchment this year, too, and he didn't accept a trade here. Apparently, Toronto had an offer on the table, but he preferred to go to a no-tax state. Come on. Let's go. All right, I'm going to start calling out cities here. All right, here we go. Bakersfield, California. Knots, UK. Is that Nottingham or just Knots? Oshawa, Halifax, Denver, St. Catharines, Dallas, Chicago suburbs. What are the names of the Chicago suburbs? You must have a name for them. Erie, PA, home of the Otters. Believe it or not, I knew the Otters owner, Jim Waters. Very, very nice man. He used to own a bunch of media in Canada and was my mom's boss. And he just passed away, sadly. Really, really good guy. Love Jim Waters. Vernon, British Columbia, Houston, Sydney, Australia, Pittsburgh, PA. Love Pittsburgh. You know that. New Hampshire. Steve's favorite city, Woodbridge. Hey! Big O, Ottawa, baby. Dublin, Ireland. Queen Charlotte City, British Columbia, near Prince Rupert. Wow, they named a lot of places in British Columbia after royalty. Queen Charlotte City, near Prince Rupert. The Forest Moon of Endor. Well, say hi to the Imperials for me. London, Ontario. Brockville, St. John's, Portland. We got Portland, Oregon, and Portland. Where's the other Portland? Portland, ME? Where's that, Hayden? I know there's two Portlands. There's an East Coast and a West Coast Portland. Got the Gold Coast in Australia. We got Steamboat Springs, Colorado. What a great American name. That is so American, it's crazy. Steamboat Springs. We build steamboats. Station Schiller says hometown of Brady Shea, Lakeville, excuse me, Minnesota. I guess that makes you a Wild fan along with Hayden, huh? I do. I've never. Well, I've been to Minneapolis, St. Paul. That's a lie, and it's very pretty. But I haven't spent long there, and I've heard it's like one of the more Canadian American cities. Oh, wow! Dakota Joshua just got Miles Wood just crushed him right in the face. I don't think it was on purpose, but again, you are responsible for your stick, my friend. Leafs are going to go to the power play, and he is bleeding, by the way. I think that's going to be a 4-minute penalty. That right across the nose. Death Eater says, I'm in the SDPN studios. No, I am alone. Nice try, though. So what happens here? Oh, Miles Wood just. So this is so weird. I can't tell if that was on purpose because he kind of like one hand slashes Dakota Joshua and then sort of weirdly pulls his stick around Joshua's head. And it's only 2 minutes? He's bleeding. That should be 4 minutes. What's going on? What is going on? What? Okay, I'm going to text Jesse, find out. How is that only 2 minutes? He's bleeding. Any word? I'll see what Jesse says back. So it's Mitch. No, it's Cowan. Man, Craig Berube loves Cowan. And you know what? The more I see Cowan play, the more I really love Cowan too. Cowan to Nylander. Boy, it's a good thing they have Cowan because without him, they'd have been screwed this year. I don't know what your options are in the top 9, but bad. Nylander. Tavares. Shot! Oh! Jack Greaves is down, and he somehow keeps that puck out, and it gets out past Morgan Riley. Ryuzak says the rule book is vibes, man. Takes massive weed hit. Toranira says the refs hate the Leafs. You know that, Adam. Francois Labelle says, I live in click, like, sub, and tell all your friends. Yeah, I love that. Tell all your friends to watch SDPN watch alongs, not only on Saturday night with Steve Dangle, but your weeknight watch alongs with your friend Adam Wylde. And Grimper Nation. Oh, it was an old cut? Oh, okay. But it's freshly cut. Like, it still opened the cut. I don't know. By the way, hit click like and click subscribe. You know what? Something we never tell you to do. We say tell all your friends, but share this with fans in your life, people that you know are fans. Maybe they want to come in and watch too. Whenever I explain the concept of a watch along with people, people are like, "People watch that," and then they try it, and they're like, "I'm never doing it any other way again." It's the craziest thing. Even I have a grandmother-in-law. Her name is Joni, and she loves watching Steve on Saturdays. She might not even watch the game, but she's just blown away by the whole thing. And my in-laws all watch and everything. Like, it's kind of crazy. You can get people turned around on it pretty quickly because it's kind of a cool idea. Hayden says his mom is watching as well. Shout out Mama Matheson. YT says, can I share this with haters and not just fans? Absolutely. Share it with all the haters. You know, I don't know if you guys have seen the Howard Stern movie, Private Parts, but the people who hate you watch longer. Newfoundland says, share it with people who are not fans, but just tell them to watch for 5 minutes. Lisa says, my mom's favorite way of watching the Jays now is with Jesse. So what's going to be interesting is next year, like, I don't think Jesse's going to do every baseball game, but I also don't think Jesse's going to get away with not doing any baseball games. So I don't know. You guys are going to have to pester him to do some baseball games because those streams were pretty awesome. But baseball is every night and it's a slog, right? I mean, he did a ton of baseball. So we'll see what happens. Also, I mean, something to keep in mind too. We have the Olympics coming up. And I can tell you, Steve's going to do all the Team Canada games. And I'm going to do all the Team USA games. And I'm trying to get Jesse around, and I think he'll do it. But you have to bully him with me. You got to, bullying works, let's be honest. You got to bully him into doing all the Swedish games. Because I think it makes sense to do all the Swedish games. Because those are the three, for my money, those are the three best teams. So why wouldn't we do that? Nylander, by the way, speaking of Team Sweden, great play to keep it into, speaking of Team Sweden, Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I'm particularly excited for Team Sweden because Leo Carlsson is just so unbelievable. Like, he's a rocket out there. Oh, Yarncroke to Tavares. Leafs actually sustaining some offensive zone pressure at 5-on-5 and getting opportunities. Get out of here to know. Oh, Calle Yarncroke on the backhand just misses the net, or it hit a body. Leafs out shooting Columbus 9-3. Chad, are we back? Is it too early to ask if we're back? I don't know. Throw it. You let me know. Chat, are we back? James Stemler said Jesse mentioned maybe doing once a week next year for the Blue Jays. That would be sick. That would be sick. Friday night Blue Jays games with Jesse would be sick. Yeah, man. I don't know that Jesse's going to take his whole summer and do Friday nights. Perhaps a Tuesday. But you know, because, like, we work a lot during the hockey season, and you got to take some time off. You got to breathe a little bit. So maybe. Ryu says, "Hey, you say we're back like Jet Greaves isn't getting a shutout tonight." Oh God, don't, man. Why are you putting that on us, man? That sucks. Our Huska, our Hruska, not Ryan Huska of the Calgary Flames. Hruska, liking the stream, or sorry, liking this team tonight. Keep it up, boys. No kidding. Leafs looking. I hate saying this because they always friggin' burn me when I say it. Even when they were good, they used to burn me when I say it. But Leafs look competitive. TMB Sports says maybe Jesse can do one game per series. That's a lot of games. When you think about 162 games, let's just say, what's 162 divided by 3? You'd have to do 54 games. That's a lot of games. That's more games than I'm streaming this year. And it's, I know regular season baseball is like usually about 2.5 hours now with that pitch clock, which is awesome. But then if the Jays go to the playoffs, we're going to be on Jesse every night. Loggy says, the second you say anything good about the Leafs, they make you look like an idiot. Buddy, my whole life, this podcast, we are Leaf fans and do a Leaf podcast. Well, it's not a Leaf podcast anymore. It started as a Leaf podcast 14 years ago. It's now an NHL podcast that just happens to be 3 Leaf fans. You know what I mean? Anyway, out of town scoreboard, and I'm just having a look here. Islanders 1-0 over Detroit. Blues and Flyers. Blues are up 1-0 over Philly. Devils and Panthers game has started. No score there. Capitals and Canadians, and no score there. Everything else has not started yet. So we will ignore those games because they haven't started. Leon says, true sign of Maple Leafs desperation is the enthusiasm by which Adam celebrated Toronto being up in shots while it's 0-0 with 3 minutes to go in the third. I don't know if that's desperation or if it's acceptance that our expectations needed to change. Like, listen, one of the most fun seasons I ever had watching the Leafs. Oh, man, great play there by Scott Laughton. Nobody could get the rebound, but Jet Greaves was down and didn't know where the puck was. One of my most favorite seasons was 16-17. Matthews, Nylander, Marner were brand new. Leafs hadn't made the playoffs. Well, they'd made the playoffs once in like the previous 15 years. And they unexpectedly got in like the last week against the Pittsburgh Penguins. I remember when Connor Brown scored that goal against Marc-Andre Fleury. It was crazy. That was probably the most pure fun season I've ever experienced as a Leaf fan as an adult. And sometimes when you get rid of the expectations, you can have a good time. Even if the team's bad, you can have fun. And we were having a good time on Tuesday night, man. There were times where the Leafs looked good. There were times where the Leafs did not look good. I'm here for a good time. I'm here to have fun and start enjoying Maple Leafs hockey again. By the way, Jesse says the reason that Dakota Joshua did not draw a 4-minute penalty is the definition of the rule is that high stick did not cause an injury, not that he is bleeding. So the rule is up to interpretation by the referee on whether the high stick caused an injury. I'm assuming the ref thought the visor hit his nose, which is what caused him to bleed, or that the blood wasn't significant enough to deem it an injury. So to me, that sounds like the refs hate Toronto, which we know. Sorry, Blue Jackets fans. I am going to be a big stinky baby about it. Matthew Olivier and Oliver Ekman-Larsson are just jawing back and forth. And you know what's hilarious about being Matthew Olivier is you know that people might chirp you, but they're not going to fight you. They're not fighting you. Who's fighting you? There's like 4 guys in the league that'll fight you. The Leafs have a guy that would fight you. His name's Michael Pezzetta, but he hasn't played a game. Like Oliver Ekman-Larsson knows. He's like, I'll talk to you, but I'm not fighting you. Fist Rock. What a name. Fist Rock. I pay a couple of bucks to tell Steve this often enough, so I might as well mention it to you. We need a live show in Sudbury, please and thank you. I agree. I don't know if we're going to get there this season because of the Olympics. Things are like a little bit more compressed. But I would love to do a live show in Sudbury. Good chunk of my family on my mother's side are from Sudbury or were from Sudbury. Nobody's there anymore, but my grandmother was from Sudbury and met my grandfather when my grandfather was putting himself through university working in the nickel mines. True story. Actually happened. Canadian Girl 83 says, how does SDPN feel about the 2026 Memorial Cup announcement, SDPN party in May? You know what? I'll be honest with you. I have not heard it. Maybe I'm a bad man, but I have not heard the Memorial Cup announcement. Is it close by? Is it in Oshawa? Is it in Peterborough? That'd be fun. Is it in Brampton? Oh, shot. Jet Greaves with a good save. Jet Greaves has been pretty solid tonight. Still, if he were my goalie, I'd be like, I need you to find your post a little bit. That's pretty good. He's doing pretty well. Leafs will look really good in this first period. It's in Guelph. Oh, well, actually, speaking of, if there's anybody here from Guelph, we might have an announcement there coming soon. Alex says, okay, real talk for a second. When is SDPN getting accredited for the Olympics? I guess we could have applied, but it's pretty expensive to send somebody. And I mean, unless all of us were going and we're doing live shows there, and we had a financial reason to do so, Italy is pretty far and expensive to do that. I would love to go. Hayden has volunteered. He said, I will go. I would love to. I would love to go. I just remember, guys, we are a small business. So we're trying to grow, trying to do fun things like that. One day I would love to be like, yeah, guys, we're going to the friggin' Olympics. Just not quite there yet. We'll get there. Newfoundland 1956 says you need to come to St. John's and do a podcast. Well, I've been trying to get the regiment on board with it, but they've been pretty busy with their first season. And I don't think you can get a ticket to the to that team right now in St. John's. Brandon says, how deep would you go for Olivier? Cowan? Absolutely not. I would not give up Cowan. Not because I don't love Olivier, but because the Leafs need Cowan more than they need Olivier. They need speed in the lineup. Olivier's not the fastest dude. He's a total bastard, and I love him. But I don't think the Leafs have the assets to offer Columbus in order to pry him away. And why would Columbus trade him? He just signed an extension. Alex says, yes, do that. All of you, live. Olympics. Doug Leafan, have you thought about a road trip, like a bus trip to Boston, Buffalo, Detroit? I'd be in. Any profits could go to charity. Yeah, I mean, we have. It's just not exactly as easy as you think to put it together. And the Leafs outshoot Columbus 12 to 4 in that period. That's pretty solid. Pretty solid. Like, one of the things that I hope they do in the second period, first off, I hope they keep it up. Second periods have been, if you're a Columbus fan and you're watching this right now, you should have some hope. And the reason you should have some hope is the Leafs are horrific in second periods this season. Last game, they were okay. I would say that if the Leafs are going to continue this, they're getting the first shot pretty well. They're not getting the rebounds the way they need to. Like, they could have had a couple of goals in that period just based on rebounds. And like, you're seeing it right now on the TSN broadcast. Columbus has done a really good job tying people up, moving bodies, just getting that stick in the way in the last second. So they're able to sort of hold the line. And when you have a dominant period like that, which the Leafs did, that's great. But you also want to kind of come away with a goal, at least one. Alex says they aren't going to make it to the Olympics without hitting that like button. That's right. How many likes do we have? It's not a whole lot. Come on, guys. Can we drop a like spike? Can we be a YouTube show? 241. I think we can do better than that. Francois LaBelle, do a live show in Montreal. Pretty pleased with Sugar on Top. We did do a live show in Montreal during the draft. Is that 3 years ago now? Almost 4? Fun fact, if you look at the CJ show and you look at their little, that we call it album art for the CJ show, that picture is in Montreal. Oh, hey, how long is this clip, Hayden? Okay, so this is a CJ show clip from today's show, right? Okay, and is it about the Leafs and the trading thing? Oh, you'll love this. So we're getting close to American Thanksgiving. And CJ has basically created his first trade board. And again, we know there's not a lot of early season trades, but this is where we're going to start talking about it. And what's going to be interesting with the Olympic break, you got to remember the Olympics start on like the 5th of February. So the games kind of, you get games the first couple days in February and then the last couple days in February. And then like a week later, it's time for the trade deadline. So there's going to be a lot of business, a lot of chatter as soon as we come back in January. And it wouldn't even surprise me if we get something before the Christmas freeze. So the Christmas roster freeze, that is. So have a listen to what CJ and Julian have to say about CJ's trade board. And I will see you back here. I'm going to go make a coffee. I will see you back here at the start of the second period.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, my friend.
It sure is.
Got the Christmas tree up at home. Got the carols playing. Obviously, for our friends down south, it's getting to Thanksgiving week next week. which I always love, even as a Canadian, the NFL football games that day. And it's weird. Like, you can almost, if you've been around the NHL as long as I have, and maybe you, like, I don't want to speak for you here, you start to feel something different as the season goes along. And this week, quite honestly, I just felt like the level of urgency go up just a notch. And it's because we're getting to a time, not saying that an avalanche of trades are going to happen, because that would be a surprise. I'll be candid. But it is getting to a point in time, basically most teams around their 20-game mark. There is that unofficial U.S. Thanksgiving idea. I heard Jim Montgomery, the Blues coach, say this week, December 1st. He's like, that's when I know what I have in my team. I mean, all these things point to basically we're in the window of time where no one can say whatever's happened is whatever trends are. They're not just a small term trend. And so that points us to trades. And, the way I let off that trade board, I don't know if you read the little blurb at the top, thanks to Hart Levine at Puckpedia, 36% of NHL players this season have some form of trade protection in their contracts, which is a big factor in these trades. And a lot of players that are listed on the 25 that made the initial trade board list are included among those players. I've heard from a number of people talking around the league this week. They'd love to make trades. They're finding it hard to make trades, but we're almost getting there. We're getting to trade season. And so I guess this is the first official, I think last year I did 8 or 9 different versions of the board on the way to the deadline. So this is the marker in the sand, and we'll see how talk evolves from here. And obviously I'll reflect that with how the board looks.
Be sure to check out the trade board at The Athletic if you haven't done so already. I'm not going to go through every single name on the board, but we should at least start with the top 5. Rasmus Andersson, his name has been linked, has been in trade talks for quite some time. No surprise, he is number 1 on your board. Let's start with him. What are you hearing about him and his placement on the board?
Sure. And look, I think it might be helpful if you're listening to the pod to understand what is the trade board, right? It's a blend of art and science, I would say. And, some of it is, it's, because they're different types of players that are listed. It's like, how can you put them in any kind of order? I mean, some of it is feel. In this case, I feel like the person you have at the top of the trade board, it's either got to be a monster name that is prominent in trade rumors. So at points last season, I believe we might have had Elias Pettersson first, if not first, second. But, that was, there was very real trade talks around a star player in Vancouver. He didn't end up getting traded, right? So, or you want to have someone that you are very, very certain is likely to be traded in the period that your board's reflecting. And that's where Andersson falls. Obviously been a tough start to the year for the Calgary Flames. And, if you want to look for trends, I know we're not going to hit on every name. There's a few Flames on this list, including Blake Coleman at number 5, in addition to Rasmus Andersson in the top spot, Nazem Kadri a little lower down. Nashville is well represented. You got Steven Stamkos in the second slot, but also Ryan O'Reilly, Jonathan Marchessault, and quite honestly, I probably could have put more Predators on there, but you get the dilution point. There's 3 St. Louis Blues, if I'm not mistaken, with Braden Shen, Justin Falk, and Jordan Kyrou a little lower down. Mm-hmm. A couple Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, what is the common denominator here? It's teams that are off to slow starts or disappointing starts, maybe. And, those are the teams that could be sellers. And I think Calgary clearly lands in that spot. And with Rasmus Andersson, I don't know that there's a lot to advance the story from where it's been. All that's advancing is we're moving towards March 6th, which is the trade deadline. And that things haven't changed in Calgary in terms of this looking like a season that could be a playoff team. As a result, he's clearly a big asset for them to move. Now, I don't see a defined market yet for him. I don't know what it's all gonna, how it's gonna shake out. That's the key thing to underline with this board. It's really trying to frame up where we see the trade activity, sort of players of note that it's going to surround as we get closer to the deadline. But certainly those few teams I mentioned, especially specifically Calgary, Nashville, and potentially St. Louis, if they can't pull out of their early season slide, I think that those are 3 of the pretty clear teams that are likely to be sellers this year and have quite a number of players to sell if they truly go into that mode.
So Rasmus Andersson, that name's been out for some time. Nazem Kadri, that name's been out for some time. I'm intrigued about Blake Coleman being in your top 5. He's actually on number 4 on your list. Number 5 being Yegor Chinnikov. Columbus is also represented on this board, I should mention. But Blake Coleman, who's won Stanley Cups before, actually with Steven Stamkos. And I think that's a guy who, if you're already a contending team, you add this guy onto like your third line, I think he would fit really well in terms of his two-way play, particularly I think defensively, if you put him with a really good defensive center. Really intrigued to see his name here. Not surprised, but I totally see a situation, especially with where the Flames are going, where he gets moved. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the interest has been strong in him. And it's been a lot of teams, I think, just sort of kicking tires and trying to get a sense of, where the Flames are at, what it might, starting to line up like, hey, if you're going to do some things, that's a guy we got our eye on. And, I think it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, big names always sell, right? Sexy sells in anything in news. And sometimes, let's face it, big names become the big trades. Like Brad Marchand, probably reflecting on last year's deadline, was the most impactful trade made, I would argue, at the deadline period last year by Florida, bringing him in, given what he did. And he was a big name. But sometimes the players that move, including actually once upon a time, Blake Coleman, when he went from New Jersey to Tampa, which wasn't necessarily a big name, but had a huge impact on that Lightning team and was part of what was an incredibly effective third line at the time with Yanni Gourde and Barclay Goodrow. I still think Blake Coleman's seen that way. He's still seen, even though we're talking 5 years on now, nearly, he as a player who can, impact, I think, on a good team, a third line, and, puts up some offense, kills penalties. He even contributes a bit. If you look shorthanded, he's liable to score a shorthanded goal.
Oh,
but
yeah.
His 200-foot play is a difference maker. And, the Flames don't have to move him at this point in time. He has another year in his contract. So this isn't a slam dunk. You have to do it. But I think he's going to have a lot of, I think he'll get a lot of attention just because of sort of the combination of what he still does in his on ice metrics and what he's done in the past, and still an affordable player, and Calgary's likely a seller. So you add all that together. That's why he ends up so high up the list. And, I think that he'll be could be one of the moves of the deadline if it ends up happening, just because even though he isn't the biggest name on this list, someone like Steven Stamkos, his former teammate, headed to the Hall of Fame one day, but maybe at this point in time and how the acquisition costs look and everything, he might end up being more impactful or maybe more easy even, frankly, for a contender to put in their lineup because, I think he can play a little lower down. His cap hit isn't as significant. And, I think he fits a certain role that can be of use for a team looking to win a cup.
Moving away from Calgary, unless there's anything you want to add with that team, I do want to get to Steven Stamkos.
No, let's go to Nashville. I mean, I think Nashville's the most interesting team in the league right now in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
As much as Calgary, I do expect to be a seller and they're well represented on the board. I mean, the Predators have made it known they're open for business. We touched on this a couple days ago on our show, but, I think that they are anxious to start selling soon. I can't say that about almost any other team in the league. I think that the market does lack sellers to a degree at this point in the early days of the season. But Nashville coming home from Sweden, being where they are for a second straight year, I think there's a lot of pressure mounting internally, and really they have a year and a half's worth of results here, Julian, from where, when you think of the big July 1st, 2024, they signed Marchessault, Brady Shea, and Stamkos, and they were surprise kind of playoff participants just prior to that. They have a lot of data now, a lot of examples to realize, what? That wasn't, that didn't work. And it's probably not going to work. And we have an old team here. And so they've got players to move. And, I think that there's a fairly high degree of desire to get some of that trading going here as soon as they can find the right dance partners.
If you were an NHL GM right now and you were looking to contend and you were looking to swing for the fences, would Steven Stamkos be high on your list, considering the fact that he's 35, an $8 million cap hit, 4 goals this year in 20 games? I think only one of those points might be at 5-on-5, but also it's Steven frickin' Stamkos. Here's
what I'll tell you. It's my understanding there's actually maybe a little more trade interest at this point in time in Marchessault than Stamkos, believe it or not.
Interesting.
And I mean, look, Marchessault is also a former Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Some of that might be cost, either acquisition cost in terms of what you're potentially giving up. Plus, he's at a $5.5 million cap hit. It's a different thing. Now he's got an extra year left on his deal beyond Stamkos, so there's a little more risk there. But, I actually think Marchessault might have a little bit more of a market at this point in time. But I would say for both players, one thing that is true is they were both signed as scoring wingers, and just the roster makeup hasn't always made sense in Nashville. Hasn't been built around, and I'm not saying it should be built around those two guys, but it hasn't. They haven't been in a position probably to do what they do best. And that being said, Stamkos had a down year last year at 27 goals. Marchessault had a down year last year at 21 goals. They still were, pretty productive players. And when you look at their wider resumes, I think there's reason to believe both could get back to closer to what they were before they got to Nashville than what they've been since. Now, that's a bit of article of faith, right? Like it's hard to know. But I think if you have the right situation, I think both players hold a certain appeal. Might be easier to move Marchessault in this moment, but look, things can change too. And I'm with you. I can't get past the fact that it's still Steven Stamkos. I mean, this, I don't think he can be judged just on, you have to judge him on his points and things like that from this year in 20 games as a Predator, and it's a pretty sharp decline from where he was even in his last season in Tampa. But you've also got 17, 18 years of history there. And, there's not a lot of guys. Like, he was a captain of a team that went to 4 Stanley Cup finals. Like, this guy knows a big game, right? And honestly, I thought he might have been at his best, frankly, in the cup they lost to Colorado. That playoff run, Stamkos was amazing, just doing everything for his team. So I still think he'll be an attractive. It won't be for everybody, but I think that he will be an attractive ad for somebody. Assuming you can get everything right. Like can they? Are they going to retain some money on the contract? Are they going to, if you can line all that up? And then the big thing you have to point out is both players have no movement clauses. So,
yeah.
I'm not saying they wouldn't accept moves. I think they would under the right circumstances, but it's also got to be the right circumstances, the right cities. They have a favorable tax situation in Tennessee. I'm just saying that could be a factor if it's a city or a jurisdiction that the players aren't wild about. Are you going to sign off on a move to a place where you're not sure if it's going to work and you're getting taxed 15% more per year? It will be a factor. Hate to make things about taxes, but there is a reality to this business.
Oh, we love a trade board from CJ. Remember, Mondays and Thursdays, the best insider show out there. And I mean that. Not just because it's our network. There are other insider shows. There's nothing wrong with them. But if you want the best one, and you want the one that's, I think, best researched, I'm partial, that'd be Mr. Chris Johnston. I love that man. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw it during the intermission, but O-Dog had the Oilers playoff odds pegged at 0. I know he's being facetious, but can I ask you a question? Because I'm going to ask this question on the show. If they were to miss the playoffs, first off, everybody's fired. Second, does Connor regret signing there? Did he sign this extension too early? Should he have waited? Because can you imagine what would be happening right now if we were 2 weeks or 2 months into the season, like we almost are? Oilers are doing this, and Connor McDavid was unsigned. Oh, woo! Woo! What a story that would have been. We were robbed. I think Edmontonians are happy about it. But the rest of us, I would have died for that. By the way, I want to do a big shout out to Robert Bett, who just dropped $20 because he's a nice person. Robert, thank you for that super chat. And then Robert actually had a super chat for $10. Thank you, Robert. Jeez. Hey, Adam, did you get a chance to ask Steve about my question about being traded mid-game to the team? I have not. The person I want to ask about it is Hayden. You've got that written down somewhere, right? Oh yeah. So Robert, the reason we couldn't ask it, I forgot this too, but Hayden just reminded me, is that Steve was really sick yesterday, and we got 20 minutes out of him on the show. That was it. So I did not get the chance to ask him, but I can ask him tomorrow. Hayden's got it written down, so we will get to it, my friend. I just Steve had the stomach flu, and yeah, pretty rough. I think it's a good question. I also want to ask CJ that question because I'm sure he would know. I'm curious about guys going into the second period. Leaf fans, no Columbus fans. By the way, can we do a little? Who's running the chat tonight? Is it our good friend Robert Malloy, or is Robert Malloy? Can we do a little poll? I want to know how many Leaf fans are here, and I want to know how many Columbus fans are here. Because Columbus fans, if you don't know, second period's been the worst period for the Leafs this year. It's been befuddling, mystifying, because it was their best period last year. Oh, huge hit on Simon Benoit there. And a great opportunity for the Blue Jackets right off the start. We're hoping the Toronto Maple Leafs don't pull a Toronto Maple Leaf and actually have a good second period here. But I want to know how many Blue Jackets fans are here, and I want to know how many Leaf fans are here. Looks like we got 58% of fans that say Leafs will win tonight, and 42% say Blue Jackets. But how many of that is depressed Leaf fans? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. OEL, shot from the point. Greaves, it gets through, and Greaves sees it. Okay. So we got, who are we cheering for? Leaf fan, Jacket fan, here for the vibes, here to be a hater. Leaf fans, you got to identify yourselves. All right? I want to see. True B1 says, I'm a Wild fan, just lurking. Well, I should introduce you to my producer, Hayden, who's a Wild fan, who's lurking in my ears constantly. Adam, have you seen Bon Cop, Bad Cop? I have not. I've heard it's a great movie. I'm a bad Canadian. I have not seen that movie. Hayden says it's a 10 out of 10 film. The guy who is who's one of the cops in that is in Landman. He's one of the lawyers. Did you guys make that connection? Good actor. Has had a really good career. I don't know his name. Aragod Vega says, I'm a Blues fan who loves the pod. Well, we're a pod that loves you, Blues fan. Oh. My back is a little sore. I don't know why. Just one of those days. Maybe I slept weird. So I'm going to be doing a little of this, a little shimmy. Robertson, Domi, and McMahon out there in a defensive zone situation. Not ideal, but the puck went out. Oshawa Generals, SDPN, the partnership for year 2. It keeps going. By the way, we're going to do that live show on Sunday. You're going to get to watch the game, and then after the game, we're going to Bond Street, and we're all going to hang out together and party and do a big old show. And we're going to talk to San Jose Sharks second-round pick, Hoshi Wang, who we're very excited to. This is the first Chinese-born player potentially to play in the NHL, which I think is pretty damn cool. So he's a big Oshawa General. We're going to see him and talk to him and interview him about that on Sunday. And by the way, you can buy tickets in the bio right now. The link is in the description. We would love to see you there. It's going to be fun, man. Our live shows are rocking. They're awesome. Easton Cowan, along the Leafs half board. He's going to get the puck out on his own and carry it across center on his own and carry it across the blue line on his own and get a shot. And Jack Greaves easily grabs that out of the air. But hey, Easton Cowan, folks. You know, it's funny. When he did get sent down, like, because he played the first 9-10 games in Toronto, I was like, it's probably time. But obviously, he had a good little learning experience. He spent 2-3 weeks down with the Marlies, and he's come back and been better. He's been better. Like, he was getting scratched certain games and stuff, and that doesn't make sense. But, dude, with all the injuries and stuff, there's a huge opportunity for him to establish himself as a Leaf, like, forever. And I will throw this out there. With the salary cap going up the way that it is, make himself some generational wealth in the next 2 to 3 seasons. Which, who can fault him? Who can fault him? Josh Halliburton says, hey, Adam, good to see you again. Josh, it's good to have you, my friend. 17:45 left in the second period. Jet Greaves with the puck behind the net, and the puck goes off the ice and off the glass and hits the netting, which is too bad because I would have really loved a Columbus power play there, or a Columbus penalty. Leafs power play. I don't want a Columbus power play. Let's not put that in the universe. By the way, I'm looking at the poll right now. We got 4% Columbus Blue Jackets fans. So not a lot of Blue Jackets fans. What? Jonathan says TSN stole your commentary about overtime rules needing to change. Well, honestly, a lot of the commentary on that came from fans in this on this stream on Tuesday night. It was people like you who were commenting going, they need to change this. And so I will say that it was a crowdsourced take and a good one. And I'd be honored if TSN were actually watching our streams and reusing our content. But I think TSN's probably smart enough to make to that conclusion on their own. And they're absolutely flipping right. Truby1, welcome to STP VIP. Signed up all on his own. Thank you, Truby1. Lisa Mo says, I'm not sure that there's that many Columbus Blue Jackets fans to begin with. I think, listen, people hate on that. But have you ever seen Ohio State play a game? There are fans in Columbus. It's a good place to live. It's a great fan town. I think the problem is that the Blue Jackets have never been in the second round. And they're coming up close to 30 years of being a franchise here. That needs to kind of change. You got to earn your fans. Robert Bet, Adam, another question. If the Leafs do win the Cup, should we be more or less worried about Steve's mental health? I think he's fine either way. He survived to this point without them winning a Cup. And if they do win, I think he will be in tears in the Blue Room, which I think would be fitting. You know, so many years spent in the 3 various Blue Rooms that he's had, originally his room, and then the one at his first house, and now the one at his current house. I think Steve would be fine. And I don't think you didn't need to worry. I think you'd want to give him a hug, though. Thomas Cook says, as hockey dad in the States, curious how youth hockey in Canada is based. Can you play for any team if you get there? In Utah, multiple people are driving 2 to 3 hours to play on a team. That doesn't happen as much here. Obviously, there are people that will go out of their neighborhood to play. And there's a lot of like academies and that sort of thing where if you've got money, and hockey's I hate to say it, but in a lot of cases, hockey is really a rich person's sport. And, you know, that there are plenty of people that make it who don't have a lot of money. And there are plenty of really competitive leagues, especially in the Toronto and Greater Toronto area, Southern Ontario, where you don't have to travel. But yeah, I mean, I think if you're in the West and there's less population, like you think about teams in Saskatchewan and that sort of thing, there's a lot of travel. Oh boy, and those Blue Jackets just scored. Fantilli friggin' always eats the Leafs alive. And that's Columbus's 5th shot of the game. That puck just sort of snuck through traffic. It's just bad luck. And remember what I told you at the end of the first period. The Leafs dominated the Blue Jackets, but they didn't come away with a goal. And that can present a problem because this is hockey. Chaos rules. And Adam Fantilli is a very good hockey player. And there's like 40 million family members of his in the lineup, in the crowd tonight. The guy's coming to play. The last time I think he played here, he got a hat trick. It's just a great shot. I don't know if Voronkov gets a piece of this. Yeah, dude. There is a Columbus Blue Jackets fan. Ardrubel. 1-0, bitches. The Leafs need to score here. And by the way, Ryu, don't think I haven't forgotten about your super chat saying that Jet Greaves is getting a shutout tonight. You put that evil out there. You know the entire chat's going to blame you if that happens. By the way, one thing I want to say is I've been very impressed so far with the play of Jacob Quillen from the Marlies. I don't ask for much in an injury situation such as this. The guy had 14 points in 14 games, 12 assists. So he's a passer rather than a finisher. But good speed, intelligent playing, doesn't leave them hanging to dry, doesn't leave the defense hanging to dry. Like that is there's a guy that can play in the NHL. I like that. Dapper Duck says, I'm here to remind Adam that he used to love Halifax. When did I ever stop loving Halifax? That never happened. Non-vital component says, Adam, there are dozens of us Jackets fans in the chat. Okay. Well, I'm glad to have you here. Can you tell your other Jackets fans to come join us? We should all be hanging out. So they gave the goal to Voronkov. So it's not Fantilli. Oh, the Leafs almost gave up a puck in front of their net, but Bobby McMahon coming back and actually playing some defense. Not something you expect much from the Robertson, Domi, McMahon line, but everybody's playing just a little bit harder. There's nothing you can say about the Leafs team tonight that says they haven't played well. They have. They just have not finished yet, and Jack Greaves has been pretty good. Shots are 15-6. I'd be curious what the Hayden, is there any way to look up expected goals or high definition scoring chances? That sort of thing. I'd love to know. Aliat says, I need a McMahon goal. I need a McMahon goal too. It always feels good when Bobby McMahon scores because there's a guy who just, like, they were going to waive him. And then somebody got injured, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to get a hat trick now. And then they never waived him. Canadian Man 46 says, incredible Tavares secondary assist coming in. Incoming. Yeah, yo, buddy. True. Voronkov, does he touch this? They're just showing the replay now. Huh. It looks like Voronkov did. 14:33 left in the second period. Plenty of time. Leafs doubling up Columbus here. 16-8 are the shots. Columbus has admittedly come out with a little more oomph this period, but the Leafs have handled it pretty well. Just straight up a good goal. Here comes Scott Laughton with a great play. It's broken up, but man, it is nice to see him back in the lineup, honestly. Cowan to McCabe. McCabe back to Cowan on the backhand. What is that? Jake, Bobby or McCabe there. Cowan back to McCabe. McCabe flips it into Laughton. Laughton fans on it, then sort of bobbles it. Lorentz down low to Cowan. Cowan out front to Laughton, and Laughton misses the puck. I think his stick was tied up. Good play there. This line looks good. I like this line. Come on. The vibes are good. Here comes Tavares. Here's that secondary assist we're looking for. Oh, Nylander couldn't get his stick down. He was tied up, but a good opportunity created there. Hayden's just looking up those advanced stats. Hayden, hold those stats until we go to commercial break because I want to save them for then. Tavares to Nylander. Crossing the blue line. He leaves it. Shot! Jack Greaves is out of the net. Oh, he hit the crossbar. Yeah, you know what, though? Honestly, so Mermis hits the crossbar here, but I do think if it had gone in, Jack Greaves was taken out of position by Calle Yarncroke. I'd like to see the replay on that. Maybe the Columbus defenseman had something to do with that, but that was a great play. That was a great play. All right, Hayden, give me the advanced stats, pal. Hayden. Oh, he's muted. Okay. I was like, guys, I know you can't hear Hayden, but I couldn't hear him either. Okay, Hayden, what do we got? Uh-huh. So Columbus has 3 scoring chances this game. 3. And it's been half the game. 3 scoring chances. And high danger scoring chances for Columbus, 0. And yet they've scored. Now tell me the Leaf stats. Leafs have 11 scoring chances. How many of them are high definition? 5 high danger chances. Oh my God. And they haven't scored. Columbus's expected goals today so far is 0.2. Ah! Leafs is what? Leafs is 0.83 thus far. By the way, somebody said Adam is a gentleman, but his mustache steals catalytic converters. I always tell my wife, this mustache adds 15 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying? Josh says, how come you don't wear your Leafs custom jersey, Adam? The reason I wear these black t-shirts a lot, and they're just, are they H&M? I don't even know. They're like cheaper ones. And the reason I wear them is because the fabric is really breathable and I get hot really easily. So you guys will see in the corner here, I've got my Penn special jersey and stuff like that. I I get too hot wearing that stuff, especially doing these streams. Yeah, so okay, Rowensky probably should have got a penalty there with Yarncroke. Huh. All right, well. Blue White Flame. Adam, you got to keep the stash after November is over. It looks too good. I hope Steve is feeling better. Steve is feeling better. We're ready to rock on a show tomorrow, which would be great. And we're also going to record VIP tomorrow. So all of our VIP friends, we're going to be releasing that episode late just because Steve was really sick. So I got a killer VIP episode for you guys tomorrow, though. Oh my God, I can't wait. Oh my God. So get ready. DG North found another gift card. No joke. This is actually the best uses of the balance. Normally people waste them and throw away the gift cards. Well, DG, we appreciate you, man. Thank you. That's very kind. Very, very kind. I'm also recording with Mr. Alan Walsh tomorrow morning. Very excited about that. We're going to be in person. Alan's in town, baby. Nobody. Hayden's like, whose client is he in to see? Nobody's. He's just. Alan has to make his way to like every NHL city every year, so he is in town, and it was like a surprise. It was like a last minute thing, so we're pumped. I'm excited to get Alan in person. Is the best. I see him a couple times a year, and I just love the guy. Robertson. Oh, Hayden's like, how many Czech players on Columbus? No, David Juracek was drafted by Columbus. He's now part of the Blues system. Excuse me, Minnesota. Adam Juracek is with the Blues. What am I saying? DG North, man, I can't wait. Been waiting for another AP episode. AP is my favorite from SDPN. It's a great show. I think criminally underrated. Alan really does have. He shares some insights. Like when we found out about the salary cap going up before it broke publicly last year, and Alan came out, and I think before anybody, and said it's going to be at 97 million. Now it ended up being 95.5 because the NHL adjusted down. But Alan's like, I'm telling you guys, this cap is going to explode, and it's not. And he said it on the podcast before anybody else did. And the people that watched the show heard. I don't know if they believed him. And then that Saturday, Elliot Friedman's like, salary cap's going up, and it was like, yeah, Alan, let's go, woo! There's stuff he says on that show. I'm telling you. I don't know if you guys know this, but the last show we ended up on TMZ. Oh, nice play, but misses the net. Who was that? Holy smokes. That was Marchenko. What a great play. That's where Marchenko's size can really take over, man. Guys, his stat line's always hilarious because it's like 23 goals, 2 assists. But yeah. Anyway, I've got a good story for you guys. We ended up in Newsweek, on TMZ, and USA Today because of what Alan said on the last podcast. And I will explain that story to you when we go to commercial break here in about 1 minute and 30 seconds because we got our 10-minute commercial break coming up. In the meantime, Easton Cowan back to Jake McCabe. They've hooked up a lot today. They've been passing a lot. Scott Lawton breaks the puck out, and Lawrence can't get the rebound. Nice little play. Man, it's good to have Scott Lawton back. Dude, that guy rocks. It's actually really, like, I know a lot of people are not convinced on Scott Lawton. Count me in. And I was not convinced that he was the right guy to trade for. But watching him play when he plays, because he's just had some bad injury luck, dude, guy rocks. Robert Bett says, I know we only seen a couple of games, but thoughts on Jacob Quillen? I think he's smart and fitting in well. Yeah, I said it about 5 minutes ago. I think his play has been great. His speed is useful. And he's not hanging anybody out to dry, which you often see from younger guys who come up from the AHL. They're used to more offensive roles and that sort of thing. And the game moves faster. But every time I see him, good speed through the neutral zone, always in position, and always gets back. And I think just earn Berube's trust, and he will reward you. Sedin Magic 15, Alan must be fun to do a podcast with. He's the best. He's a riot. always, it's funny. Whenever we record a show, it might be like 45 minutes, but we also spend another 45 minutes just chatting and catching up online. And the stories he tells and the insights he has, it's not like he's like breaking trades to Jesse and I, but we don't want that. What we want is for Alan to just tell stories. And dude, the guy's got 30 years of incredible NHL stories with just about anybody you can imagine. He's such a great, like, he's the perfect dinner party guest. Just awesome. Such great, entertaining, crazy stories. I don't know if you guys have heard, he told this on the podcast, like where he was talking about how a Czech, when he was breaking into the Czech Republic and getting Czech clients, a Czech agent was so mad about it that he went up to him at a World Juniors game and punched him in the face in the stands. And the guy got arrested. And one of the players that Alan was hoping would come over to his agency, his family saw it and said, okay, well, we're definitely not going with that guy. We're going with you. Isn't that cool? Crazy story. What's the stat, Hayden? Oh, Montembeau's been pulled again? What's the score? Montembeau allowed 3 goals on 10 shots. Wow. Stuart Skinner and Sam Montembeau. Who knew it was going to be this bad? Dobesh is back. Wow. By the way, Jake said, ask Alan if he's seen the Bruce Springsteen movie that came out. I did on the last show, and his answer is really great. You should check it out. I'm not going to give it to you. Now, I got to tell you this crazy story with Alan. Which one was I going to tell? There's so many of them. I had it, but my ADHD is kicking in, and I've lost it. It's not the Zdeno Seeger story. So there is actually a guy. There was a player named Zdeno Seeger who you could look him up on HockeyDB. Was a pretty good player, but a team was trying to sign him, and Alan does such a better job selling or telling us this than I can. But it was Minnesota early on in Minnesota's time, and basically he was like telling the general manager, like, well, I really like fishing. So is there a lot of lakes there? And Minnesota is obviously known for its lakes. He's like, yeah. I got a bad back, like I just want to spend my time fishing. And essentially the GM was like, oh my God, what's going on here? Great story. You should check that out. Hayden, we're getting some requests to turn up the mic. Can we turn up my mic a little bit? Iconu says, wow, Montreal's already on a 4-game skid. One of the things that our good friends Arpin Basu and Marc-Antoine Gaudin, who do an amazing Habs podcast. And it used to be here on SDPN, but because of Marc-Antoine's commitments with CBC, he can't be on any network that has any advertising outside of CBC. So they have to kind of have that show outside of it. And I don't know. I think it's for my money, it's the best Habs podcast out there. So if you're interested in the Habs or whatever, one of the things they've kind of harped on, and Hayden, by the way, Stats God Hayden, my producer tonight, is also their producer. One of the things they've harped on is the Habs have kind of been a one-line team. And you look at a guy like Ivan Debinov, who's been struggling. Oliver Kapanen did okay, but he's too young. They need a second-line center, and they know it, and they've needed it for a couple years. And Kirby Dach is out again because Kirby Dach, unfortunately, just cannot stay healthy. It's just bad luck, I think. I think that Montreal, once they make that trade for a second-line center, their life's going to get a whole lot easier. Who broke his foot? Oh, Newhook. Yeah. Yes, he did. Yeah. I feel bad for Newhook, too. Like, I don't think Newhook is I think they got Newhook from Colorado hoping he would turn out to be a second or third line option. I like him better on the wing. I could be wrong. But I don't think Dach or Newhook, which were project players when the Habs got them, admittedly, turned out the way they kind of hoped. That's and when you're developing a new team like the way they have under Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes, and they've done a great job, you're going to have holes. And that's why you have a farm system, and that's why you have draft picks, and that's why you have free agency. You fill those holes. Nice save there by Joseph Wall on the deflection. Really, really nice. Muckmeh, Adam. My only male Ontarian crush after Gord Downing. Thank you so much. If you had to choose your second favorite team in the NHL, second favorite franchise after the Leafs, which one is it? Well, for a while it was the Tampa Bay Lightning. I love Tampa Bay just generally. Tampa St. Pete's is a beautiful area. I love going to Lightning games. I've been to a few. The fans are awesome and fun. There's a tiki bar outside. It's pretty sweet. I loved Nashville. Absolutely loved Nashville. I've seen a few games there, including a Stanley Cup Finals game we were lucky enough to go to. That was special. But if I'm going to be honest, like, wow, the Leafs have had wow. All the guys on the ice right now have been out there for a minute 40. They've been pinned. This is one of the first times this game I could think that where Columbus really had them on their heels, but they were able to get a couple of players off there. Still, the defense is out there, and there's a goal, and it's Fan friggin' Tilly. I told you Adam Fantilli eats when he comes to Toronto, man. I told you. His entire family, the fam Tilly, is watching, and they're loving this. Holy moly. The Leafs deserve better than what they're getting, but you got to score a goal, man. Wow. I'll get back to that super chat in a second. Damn, Fantilli, what a goal. Beautiful. He is a rock star, that guy. Especially in Toronto. Wow. To our 4 or 5 Blue Jackets fans watching right now, I hope you're enjoying this. I hope you're enjoying our pain yet again. The Blue Jackets always have the Leafs number. I don't know what it is. It's been dating back for years. They always play well in Toronto. And maybe it's the Leafs. Maybe it's the Leafs not taking them seriously when they should. Alex, this is on me. I got my hopes up. Alex, don't worry. It's actually Ryu's fault because he said Jet Greaves shutout coming. Ryu, I have not forgotten that super chat. You put it out there in the universe, sir. We're blaming you. Adam, can you turn up your mic because the volume is max and I still can't hear you? Hayden, can we do it again? Can we turn it up a little more? I'm maxed out on my end. I don't know if I can. Can I turn it on and turn it up in here? Do you think? Let me see. Should I turn it to voice isolation or just standard? Do you think? Would that help? Leave it standard? Okay. Yeah, I don't know what else I can do here, guys. I will talk to Jesse about it. Audio sources. Yeah, it is a little low on my end. You're absolutely right. I don't know where. I can have a look here, but I don't know. I've also got to watch the game. I will try to make sure that I'm like in on the microphone. Can you hear me? Anyway, my second favorite franchise now forever and ever is going to be the San Jose Sharks. To answer that question, San Jose, the organization just blew me away when we were out there, and I know that that's like a people roll their eyes at that answer, but I have to tell you, like truly top to bottom, Class A organization. They really care. They love hockey and they love growing hockey. And the fact that they brought us into their sort of family for a week and said, all right, here's what it is. And this is what hockey in North California is, NorCal. I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So I will always, always, always hold a candle for the San Jose Sharks. Always. Dakota Joshua in along the boards. Leafs trying to dig for something here. You got to think with 6 minutes to go in this period, you got to get a goal. You want to get a goal. You want to get a little momentum. You want to get the last goal of the period going into the third. And you know you can get back in this when you're down 1. Down 2 feels, it is different, but it feels a lot different than down 1. And the Columbus Blue Jackets iced the puck with 5:53 to go in the second. Ed Mills, what's your least favorite franchise? You know, it's crazy. One of my first hockey games ever was the Calgary Flames. My grandfather was a huge Flames fan. He lived out there, had seasons tickets for 25 years, was at the very first Calgary Flames game against the Quebec Nordiques, and they tied 5-all. Scores! The Leafs finally friggin' cracked Jet Reeves. And look at that, it's Dakota Mermis, who almost scored earlier in the game, but hit the crossbar. Everybody picked Dakota Mermis for anytime goal, right? You guys got on the Ballybet app and you were like, yo, Dakota Mermis has got it tonight, right? You all just won a bunch of money, didn't you? Yeah, go Leafs, go, baby. I'll get back to the conversation in a second. Wow, great goal for him. And by the way, I believe that's a John Tavares first assist, potentially a second assist. And that might be Tavares actually scoring. Look at that. Yeah, from Mermis. Yes, you know that felt good. I don't hate. I love the Flames for the like. And listen, I lived in Calgary, so I'm finishing answering this question. I lived in Calgary for a couple of years. I really loved it out there. Oh man, Easton Cowan almost set up beautifully by William Nylander. If you're gonna ask me my opinion, and you're not, I think Easton Cowan should be on that first line with Nylander and Tavares. I'm just throwing that out there. But maybe you need more scoring throughout the lineup. Here comes Cowan with Tavares. Leaves it for Nylander. Nylander shoots it over the net. Oh, what a great play by these three guys who are developing some chemistry. Maybe Berube needs to downgrade Yarncroke and put Easton Cowan on that line. Okay. So I'm going to say, my least favorite franchise forever was the Coyotes. And the reason it was the Coyotes was not because of the fans. Coyotes fans were, if you could remain a Coyotes fan after the BS that they put their team through, then to me, you are the most hardcore fan out there. Because it was like, where do they play now? What arena are they in? Did they pay their taxes? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just so much mess for so many years. Who does the NHL own them now? Oh no, it's somebody else. So I didn't like the Coyotes because I thought that they brought the NHL down, and I thought that they never got a good owner in there, and they never treated their fans well. Ever. You can't tell me otherwise. The players did, the management did, but the ownership was just never good, right? So it's a shame that it went the way that it did. I think I'm not thrilled with the Calgary Flames right now. And least favorite franchise is a hard one because, like, I don't hate anybody. I love a good rivalry. Like, the Panthers make me hate the Panthers, but I don't hate the franchise. I just hate the guy. I hate the Panthers because they keep stuffing my team into a locker, right? I dislike the way that the Flames have treated the city. I dislike the way that their ownership gets involved in elections and basically makes the public pay for their new arena when Marie Edwards has the money. I dislike the way that they treat certain employees from time to time. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you a story. Before I got to Calgary, I remember when I was going to be the morning show guy, I was like, I want to wear a Flames jersey for my promo picture because the Flames were the first team I ever saw live. And this is really special that I get to live in Calgary, and my grandfather's just down the street. And how cool is this? And I remember my boss saying to me, listen, I love your passion. And I know you're a Leafs fan, but I love your passion. You're coming in, you're embracing the city, whatever. You can't wear a Flames jersey in your promo picture. And I said, why not? And he's like, we can't put it on the website. And I'm like, well, in Toronto, we can put Leafs jerseys on websites and stuff. It doesn't matter. And he's like, the Flames, this is secondhand information, but I'm going to tell you anyway. The Flames apparently threatened to sue another radio company because one of their hosts had a Calgary Flames jersey on in their promo picture that was on their website. And the Flames said they were using their IP against trademark. So I have to tell you, I'm not a fan of that. It's BS to me. I think Calgary as a city is awesome. I think that they deserve better than what Flames ownership gives them. Straight up. That's how I feel. I've always felt that way. I've tried to keep my mouth shut because I am an Easterner, and nobody from the West wants to hear an Easterner's opinion, and I get it. But yeah, I think that that's a really shitty way to treat people. And that's just one of a million stories, but none of those stories are my own. So I can't really tell them. And, the management group there is really, really good. But like, even there's rumors right now that the management group is fighting with ownership about this rebuild because this dummy of an owner thinks that Kadri, Huberdeau, and Uyghur are the future of the Calgary Flames. Buddy, when the new arena opens, like Nazem Kadri's going to be 38 years old. What are we doing? It's crazy. It's crazy. Rebuild, build a Stanley Cup champion. That city comes alive when the Flames are good, man. Everybody knows about the Red Mile. They deserve better than what they got. Oh, big play there. Joseph Woll gave up a juicy rebound, but Leafs had good coverage because Columbus was not able to get to it. Listen, that's just my opinion, and those are just secondhand stories, and I can't verify any of it. So I want to say that. Oh boy, Leafs are down. Please. Oh, Simon Benoit. So did Benoit get smoked by a puck? He was down and got smoked by a shot. Why was he down? Sillinger got him down. Oh, so he went down and from Sillinger, just kind of a bump. And then, he got lucky. That puck was going right for his face. Anyway, that's why I couldn't wear a Calgary Flames jersey in my promo picture, so I'm still salty about it. Alex, 9269. I already got that super chat. What else do we got? Canada Matt, a lot of people wanted to see what things would look like if we blew up the team and dumped all the expensive players over the offseason. Well, this is it. Complain if you want, but the core matters. Listen, I think the core, though, should be Gavin McKenna and Zane Parekh and Matt Coronado. And listen, I'm not saying to trade everybody, but like I think Blake Coleman could get you a lot. I think Jonathan Huberdeau is probably in Calgary forever. I think Nazem Kadri could get you a lot. Rasmus Anderson, they won't offer him an 8-year deal. He would stay. Rasmus Anderson would stay in Calgary. They won't offer him 8 years. Dakota Mermis could be on hat-trick wash tonight. It's Antics says, unrelated, but how do you feel about the Vegas race this weekend? Well, I'm worried about our friend Tim Hauraney. It's rained so much in Vegas that they've had flooding. And like severe flooding. You should check TikTok, search Vegas flood. It's actually nuts. Robert Bet 1133. Steve's celebrating the most right now because we know how much he loves Mermis. Yo, since Troy Stetcher started playing for the Leafs, Dakota Mermis looks like himself again. It's nice to see. Anyway. Oh, Canada Matt LMAO. I was talking about the Leafs. Oh, I see what you're saying. What's the stat on the screen? Hayden's got a stat up on the game. Oh, okay. Quinn Hughes, Eric Carlson, Zach Werenski, and Cale Makar. Wow, that is a crazy stat. I didn't get the. Can you say it? Fastest to 400 points for defenseman. That's crazy. By the way, I think if Gavin McKenna ends up as a Calgary Flame and you have McKenna and Wolf to build around, so I know the last 10 years have been particularly painful at times for the Flames because of Connor McDavid. I want Calgary to consider that perhaps it could be in reverse. McKenna, Dustin Wolf, and you got Parekh, Zeri, Coronado, like I said, like, dude, Calgary could shove this down the Oilers' throats for the next 10 years if they just commit fully to the rebuild this season. And I'm not saying they got to trade everybody, but dude, Connor McDavid might not make the playoffs this year, and he's got 2 more years. And then he'll be like 32. McMahon in front. Wow, what a great play. I'm just saying, there's an opportunity. Got a brand new arena coming. There's so much. Anyway, so Calgary's bothered me. Denise Campbell says, we Flames are sick of them too. I'm telling you, man, it could be really exciting in Calgary, especially if Connor McDavid leaves. That's what I'm saying. And don't think that it's not a possibility. If it wasn't a possibility, he would have signed for 8 years. Ches says, shocked you didn't say New Jersey for most hated team. I don't hate New Jersey. Some New Jersey fans are a little cantankerous. But like, I mean, so are Leaf fans, right? New Jersey fans, and I find like there is a subsection of Islanders fans who are like really aggressive online, like really aggressive. Like, you know, they were, what was it? The Jersey fans were going after the restaurant where Jack Hughes cut his hand and giving it terrible reviews. Like, why would you do that? I haven't seen Leaf fans do that as much as everybody hates on Leaf fans, Mitch Marner. So yeah, there are, you know, every team and every city's got their own sort of personality. And I'm not saying at any stage of that's every fan. Whoa, Nylander with a great play too. 36 seconds to go here. Maybe the Leafs can get something. Could we get a tie game? They got the goal we wanted. We wanted at least to go to the third period down 2-1. If we're going to have a couple of, you know, silly goals go in, this is a good position to be. Get the last goal of the period the Leafs have. Joseph Pantalon. Joey Pants. Leaf fans might be the most obnoxious. Yeah, I can see that. I can totally see that. I think the thing is like we're not as vengeful online. I think there's a lot of Leaf fans who talk a lot of crap, but I don't think they're like, let me go destroy this small business. And I've never seen Leaf fans burn a guy's jersey in a parking lot like I did with the Tavares Islanders. Cantankerous says, excuse me, Flyers fan, not New Jersey. So the Flyers fans are interesting because Philadelphia knows its own reputation, and people from Philadelphia, when you talk to them about it, and I've got family in Philly or just outside, they're kind of like, yeah, like, I know it's not actually like there is a Philadelphia brashness. But yeah, like I haven't seen, maybe the Flyers just haven't been good lately, so I haven't seen them get all cocky and you know, obnoxious online. Diane Sears, how do you feel about the Canes? I think they're a really well-run franchise. I think that Tom Dundon is cheap as chips, but you know what? I guess that's one way to become a billionaire. And frankly, I can't say enough about how Don Waddell ran the team, because maybe Don, who's now running the Columbus Blue Jackets, Don is brilliant at one thing. And Don is brilliant at knowing when he's not the smartest guy in a particular subject. So what's he do? He goes out and finds the smartest guy. And that's why I think he's going to be great for Columbus, because Yarmo is just not the guy. And I love what Don did. He basically set up his own replacement in Eric Tulsky. And he let Eric Tulsky do a lot of the moves that created the Blue Jackets like we see them today. And I think he's going to do the same thing in Columbus. When he took over in Carolina, if you look at where Columbus is and you look at where Carolina was back then, outside of the Stanley Cup that they had won, which Carolina did win a cup, they've been a pretty shaky franchise. Financially shaky, not a lot of results, like just one of those sort of forgettable teams. And what he did and what they did over that time was they created this hardcore, ardent, amazing fan base that will die for the team. And they drafted well, signed intelligently when it came to free agency, and drafted. And the trades that they made always made some sense. And you know, I think that they've created a really great organization. And I think Don Waddell built that in Carolina with the people that he hired. And I think he's going to do the same in Columbus. I think the Columbus ownership, by the way, they're really good. They let the hockey people do hockey stuff. They're too hands off sometimes. Maha says Leafs are a forgettable team too. Leafs are not a forgettable team. When they're winning, when they're losing, the Leafs are a story, man. Trent Mania. Adam, I don't think anybody brings up Beckett Seneke from the Anaheim Ducks in the Calder race. He's underrated. I don't think he's done enough to get his name in there. I have him in fantasy, so I've been watching him closely, but I'm going to get his numbers. Like, he's come on pretty strong. By the way, you want to see something hilarious? Go look up his Hockey DB page. This kid he's a literal child. I can't believe that a person that looks like that is an adult and playing in the NHL. He's got 14 points in 20 games. Like, Matthew Schaefer is so much further ahead of that. That's why you're not like it's Matthew Schaefer and nobody. That's why nobody's talking about it. But I like Beckett a lot. What are we doing, Hayden? What clip? Oh, all right. Hey, guys, you asked about the Vegas Grand Prix. Well, guess what? Tim and I did the sim for the Vegas Grand Prix. Have a look, and we'll see you at the beginning of the third period.
It's the most wonderful time of the year, my friend.
It sure is.
Got the Christmas tree up at home. Got the carols playing. Obviously, for our friends down south, it's getting to Thanksgiving week next week, which I always love, even as a Canadian, the NFL football games that day. And it's weird. Like, you can almost, if you've been around the NHL as long as I have, and maybe you, like, I don't want to speak for you here, you start to feel something different as the season goes along. And this week, quite honestly, I just felt like the level of urgency go up just a notch. And it's because we're getting to a time, not saying that an avalanche of trades are going to happen, because that would be a surprise. I'll be candid. But it is getting to a point in time, basically most teams around their 20-game mark. There is that unofficial U.S. Thanksgiving idea. I heard Jim Montgomery, the Blues coach, say this week, December 1st. He's like, that's when I know what I have in my team. I mean, all these things point to basically we're in the window of time where no one can say whatever's happened is whatever trends are. They're not just a small term trend. And so that points us to trades. And, the way I let off that trade board, I don't know if you read the little blurb at the top, thanks to Hart Levine at Puckpedia, 36% of NHL players this season have some form of trade protection in their contracts, which is a big factor in these trades. And a lot of players that are listed on the 25 that made the initial trade board list are included among those players. I've heard from a number of people talking around the league this week. They'd love to make trades. They're finding it hard to make trades, but we're almost getting there. We're getting to trade season. And so I guess this is the first official, I think last year I did 8 or 9 different versions of the board on the way to the deadline. So this is the marker in the sand, and we'll see how talk evolves from here. And obviously I'll reflect that with how the board looks.
Be sure to check out the trade board at The Athletic if you haven't done so already. I'm not going to go through every single name on the board, but we should at least start with the top 5. Rasmus Andersson, his name has been linked, has been in trade talks for quite some time. No surprise, he is number 1 on your board. Let's start with him. What are you hearing about him and his placement on the board?
Sure. And look, I think it might be helpful if you're listening to the pod to understand what is the trade board, right? It's a blend of art and science, I would say. And, some of it is, it's, because they're different types of players that are listed. It's like, how can you put them in any kind of order? I mean, some of it is feel. In this case, I feel like the person you have at the top of the trade board, it's either got to be a monster name that is prominent in trade rumors. So at points last season, I believe we might have had Elias Pettersson first, if not first, second. But, that was, there was very real trade talks around a star player in Vancouver. He didn't end up getting traded, right? So, or you want to have someone that you are very, very certain is likely to be traded in the period that your board's reflecting. And that's where Anderson falls. Obviously been a tough start to the year for the Calgary Flames. And, if you want to look for trends, I know we're not going to hit on every name. There's a few Flames on this list, including Blake Coleman at number 5, in addition to Rasmus Andersson in the top spot, Nazem Kadri a little lower down. Nashville is well represented. You got Steven Stamkos in the second slot, but also Ryan O'Reilly, Jonathan Marchessault, and quite honestly, I probably could have put more Predators on there, but you get the dilution point. There's 3 St. Louis Blues, if I'm not mistaken, with Braden Shen, Justin Falk, and Jordan Kyrou a little lower down. A couple Toronto Maple Leafs. I mean, what is the common denominator here? It's teams that are off to slow starts or disappointing starts, maybe. And, those are the teams that could be sellers. And I think Calgary clearly lands in that spot. And with Rasmus Andersson, I don't know that there's a lot to advance the story from where it's been. All that's advancing is we're moving towards March 6th, which is the trade deadline. And that things haven't changed in Calgary in terms of this looking like a season that could be a playoff team. As a result, he's clearly a big asset for them to move. Now, I don't see a defined market yet for him. I don't know what it's all gonna, how it's gonna shake out. That's the key thing to underline with this board. It's really trying to frame up where we see the trade activity sort of players of note that it's going to surround as we get closer to the deadline. But certainly those few teams I mentioned, especially specifically Calgary, Nashville, and potentially St. Louis, if they can't pull out of their early season slide, I think that those are three of the pretty clear teams that are likely to be sellers this year and have quite a number of players to sell if they truly go into that mode.
So Rasmus Andersson, that name's been out for some time. Nazem Kadri, that name's been out for some time. I'm intrigued about Blake Coleman being in your top 5. He's actually on number 4 on your list. Number 5 being Yegor Chinakhov. Columbus is also represented on this board, I should mention. But Blake Coleman, who's won Stanley Cups before, actually with Steven Stamkos. And I think that's a guy who, if you're already a contending team, you add this guy onto like your third line, I think he would fit really well in terms of his two-way play, particularly I think defensively, if you put him with a really good defensive center. Really intrigued to see his name here. Not surprised, but I totally see a situation, especially with where the Flames are going, where he gets moved. Absolutely.
Yeah, and the interest has been strong in him. And it's been a lot of teams, I think, just sort of kicking tires and trying to get a sense of, where the Flames are at, what it might, starting to line up like, hey, if you're going to do some things, that's a guy we got our eye on. And, I think it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, big names always sell, right? Sexy sells in anything in news. And sometimes, let's face it, big names become the big trades. Like Brad Marchand, probably reflecting on last year's deadline, was the most impactful trade made, I would argue, at the deadline period last year by Florida, bringing him in, given what he did. And he was a big name. But sometimes the players that move, including actually once upon a time, Blake Coleman, when he went from New Jersey to Tampa, which wasn't necessarily a big name, but had a huge impact on that Lightning team and was part of what was an incredibly effective third line at the time with Yanni Gourde and Barclay Goodrow. I still think Blake Coleman's seen that way. He's still seen, even though we're talking 5 years on now, nearly, he as a player who can, impact, I think, on a good team, a third line, and, puts up some offense, kills penalties. He even contributes a bit. If you look shorthanded, he's liable to score a shorthanded goal.
Oh,
but
yeah.
His 200-foot play is a difference maker. And, the Flames don't have to move him at this point in time. He has another year in his contract. So this isn't a slam dunk. You have to do it. But I think he's going to have a lot of, I think he'll get a lot of attention just because of sort of the combination of what he still does in his on ice metrics and what he's done in the past, and still an affordable player, and Calgary's likely a seller. So you add all that together. That's why he ends up so high up the list. And, I think that he'll be could be one of the moves of the deadline if it ends up happening, just because even though he isn't the biggest name on this list, someone like Steven Stamkos, his former teammate, headed to the Hall of Fame one day, but maybe at this point in time and how the acquisition costs look and everything, he might end up being more impactful or maybe more easy even, frankly, for a contender to put in their lineup because, I think he can play a little lower down. His cap hit isn't as significant. And, I think he fits a certain role that can be of use for a team looking to win a cup.
Moving away from Calgary, unless there's anything you want to add with that team, I do want to get to Steven Stamkos.
No, let's go to Nashville. I mean, I think Nashville's the most interesting team in the league right now in some ways.
Oh, yeah.
As much as Calgary, I do expect to be a seller and they're well represented on the board. I mean, the Predators have made it known they're open for business. We touched on this a couple days ago on our show, but, I think that they are anxious to start selling soon. I can't say that about almost any other team in the league. I think that the market does lack sellers to a degree at this point in the early days of the season. But Nashville coming home from Sweden, being where they are for a second straight year, I think there's a lot of pressure mounting internally, and really they have a year and a half's worth of results here, Julian, from where, when you think of the big July 1st, 2024, they signed Marchessault, Brady Shea, and Stamkos, and they were surprise kind of playoff participants just prior to that. They have a lot of data now, a lot of examples to realize, do you know what? That wasn't, that didn't work. And it's probably not going to work. And we have an old team here. And so they've got players to move. And, I think that there's a fairly high degree of desire to get some of that trading going here as soon as they can find the right dance partners.
If you were an NHL GM right now and you were looking to contend and you were looking to swing for the fences, would Steven Stamkos be high on your list, considering the fact that he's 35, an $8 million cap hit, 4 goals this year in 20 games? I think only one of those points might be at 5-on-5, but also it's Steven frickin' Stamkos.
Here's what I'll tell you. It's my understanding there's actually maybe a little more trade interest at this point in time in Marchessault than Stamkos, believe it or not.
Interesting.
And I mean, look, Marchessault is also a former Conn Smythe Trophy winner. Some of that might be cost, either acquisition cost in terms of what you're potentially giving up. Plus, he's at a $5.5 million cap hit. It's a different thing. Now he's got an extra year left on his deal beyond Stamkos, so there's a little more risk there. But, I actually think Marchessault might have a little bit more of a market at this point in time. But I would say for both players, one thing that is true is they were both signed as scoring wingers, and just the roster makeup hasn't always made sense in Nashville, hasn't been built around. And I'm not saying it should be built around those two guys, but it hasn't. They haven't been in a position probably to do what they do best. And that being said, Stamkos had a down year last year at 27 goals. Marchessault had a down year last year at 21 goals. They still were, pretty productive players. And when you look at their wider resumes, I think there's reason to believe both could get back to closer to what they were before they got to Nashville than what they've been since. Now, that's a bit of article of faith, right? It's hard to know. But I think if you have the right situation, I think both players hold a certain appeal. Might be easier to move Marchessault in this moment, but look, things can change too. And I'm with you. I can't get past the fact that it's still Steven Stamkos. I mean, this, I don't think he can be judged just on. I mean, you have to judge him on his points and things like that from this year in 20 games as a Predator. And it's a pretty sharp decline from where he was even in his last season in Tampa. But I mean, you've also got 17, 18 years of history there, and there's not a lot of guys. He was a captain of a team that went to 4 Stanley Cup Finals. This guy knows a big game, right? And honestly, I thought he might have been at his best, frankly, in the cup they lost to Colorado. That playoff run, Stamkos was amazing, just doing everything for his team. And so I still think he'll be an attractive. It won't be for everybody, but I think that he will be an attractive ad for somebody. Assuming you can get everything right. Can they? Are they going to retain some money on the contract? Are they going to, if you can line all that up? And then the big thing you have to point out is both players have no movement clauses. So,
yeah.
I'm not saying they wouldn't accept moves. I think they would under the right circumstances, but it's also got to be the right circumstances, the right cities. They have a favorable tax situation in Tennessee. I'm just saying that could be a factor if it's a city or a jurisdiction that the players aren't wild about. I mean, are you going to sign off on a move to a place where you're not sure if it's going to work and you're getting taxed 15% more per year? It will be a factor. Hate to make things about taxes, but there is a reality to this business.
I was just texting back and forth with my wife, and my daughter's in grade 1, and she got her first real bit of homework today. And so my wife was texting me. She was like, "You're lucky you're working tonight because, Everly had homework and I had to do it, or I had to help her do it and whatever." And I said, are you telling me you found the homework difficult, honey?" And so she's not happy with me right now, but I feel pretty good. I think it was a good chirp. Oh, the cats are on screen. You guys wanted the cats. There they are, cuddling. Zombie says, "Womp womp." By the way, yeah, everybody's upset about the CJ show repeat. That's Hayden's fault. Make sure you bully Hayden. All right? Make sure you bully Hayden. Also, my wife is texting me right now. She's like, "Oh, you think you're so cool." Yeah, well. Everybody loves the cats. I know that if Natalie was watching, she'd be mad that Hayden, your cat's made it on screen, and our cat, Teddy, didn't. But that's okay. Your cats are cuddling, yeah. Like our cat just barks for food and cuddles Natalie. Gus and Huey, right? Those are your cats' names? Gus and Huey. Torino, wait, Torinira? How long will you stay in Hotel Doghouse, Adam? Probably not too long. I think I think it'll be okay. But listen, you can't have a good marriage without chirping each other at least once or twice a day. And I always say, Nat, you never had a brother. Neither did I. I'm an only child. Oh, big save by Wall. A couple big ones to start the period. So, this is your payback for not having a brother. Because if she'd had a brother, she'd be used to this by now. You must chirp your wife. Must. Oh, Nylander to McCabe. McCabe's been pretty active and involved in the defense tonight. I got to give him credit. Looks like a pretty free-flowing start here. McCabe and Riley out there right now. I think we're midway through a defensive change. Cowan down low. Fantilli and Wood out there. Severson with the puck at the blue line. Miles Wood with the shot in. Goes off a skate. Matejchuk's able to grab it. Severson. Shot! And Miles Wood misses the net, and it goes all the way back down the ice. I think it touched a Leaf player. Otherwise, I feel like that should be, if you take a shot and it goes off the board and it goes all the way down to the other end of the ice, that should be icing. Even though that's reverse icing. It should be. That should be a rule. Reverse icing. Severson is out there. Columbus is going to need to change here in a second. And it looks like they're going to get the chance now. Oh, no, they're not. It's real icing. Oh, Wall made a great save on Provorov there. And a nice rebound, too. Adam's homework. What's 41 plus 20? Oh, I'm not going to answer that. Hayden's like, don't answer that. It's the meme. It's not even the fun meme. It's the kid one. I'm not saying that name. I'm not doing that. Hayden stepping in and saving me here. I just read stuff. I'm like Ron Burgundy. Just yeah. Hayden said he's trying to save Rob Malloy in the chat from having to deal with it. That was a good call. You know what, Jacqueline? I'll remember that. I'll remember that you tried to get me to say that. I'll remember that. Big save by Joseph Wall. Charlie Coyle and Max Domi getting into it. And Olivier's just kind of prowling around like a great white shark. Oh, is there going to be a fight here? I'd be happy to join. I'd be happy to join. Leafs need a goal here. Tie this thing up, and then we got a real game. I know for the Blue Jackets fans in the chat, you don't want that. I do. Charlie Coyle, by the way, has 499 career points. We must keep it that way. We mustn't let him get 500 points here in Toronto. Everybody breaks their records here in Toronto. Can't let him have it. Can't let him have it. Scott Lawton's going to get kicked out because the friggin' linesman just juked him. He's like, ugh, and expects the player not to react. I hate when they do this, man. Oh, and Matthias Michelli, face-off god, is going to go against Del Bel Belluz. That's the face-off we all paid money for. And the face-off is won so cleanly that it goes back to the Columbus zone, and Zach Werenski, with a really nice mustache, maybe from November, has to pick it up. Steven Schiller, hey, Adam, what's 130 plus 290? I don't know, and I'm not going to do it. I don't know. Michelli gets the puck up. Quillen. It's Quillen, Michelli, and Joshua. They've had some good moments tonight, but again, we're still looking for kind of more from this line. Looking for more from a guy like Dakota Joshua. I'll be honest with you, I was really excited that he was here because I loved the way he played in Vancouver. It still seems like he's trying to find himself and find his role. I'd like him to get a little meaner, if I'm being honest. I don't think he's mean enough yet. He's not playing mean enough. Meg Han 84. Will VIP focus be on the Leafs PR release about injuries and how trainers handle it? No, it won't be in the VIP. It will be in the main episode. It got me nervous if it's about the trainers. It's not about the trainers. Well, maybe it is a little about the trainers. I think it's about how the organization handles messaging around that stuff. It's time to have the conversation. Time to have the conversation. And it's not that like anybody's necessarily at fault, but I think they're going to need to change the way they do this because just to give you an idea, Matthews was day-to-day all last November and he missed the entire month. That's not real. And that also screws over people who are buying tickets. I'm just throwing that out there. 16:33 left in the third period. Tavares crossing center to Cowan. What a great pass. Great play. John Tavares from Easton Cowan. A great give and go. What an awesome play. And Easton Cowan says, let's go. Leafs tie the game. Oh, man. So midway through the first period, Easton Cowan is promoted. Sorry, midway through the second period, Easton Cowan is promoted to the Tavares Nylander line. And boy, is he making it count. Wow. John Tavares, great through the neutral zone. So strong on the puck to Cowan. Back to Tavares. Catches Jet Greaves going the wrong way. Blocker side and in the back of the net. Let's go. Man, I am so pumped for this Easton Cowan start. Let's go. And John Tavares continues his torrid start. Anybody that you know with Portuguese ancestry is waving the flag right now. Our Portuguese Toronto King. Johnny T. Johnny Toronto. I think taking Calle Yarncroke off that line was the right call. He's a bottom six guy. Let him be one. Giggling Cat says, I'm too nervous to watch the Cats game. We keep getting injured, so I jumped on to be distracted by your goatee and you guys score. I don't have a goatee. Steve's got a little goatee going on. I've got a Fu Manchu and or a handlebar, depending upon how you look at it. I don't really know what the difference is, but I've been told it's both. I don't care enough. I just want to raise money for Movember. Robert bet 11:33. We need Michael Pezzetta for the vibes. Well, I'm sure he'll get into one game at least. SLS, Adam, your thoughts on Canadian Olympic jerseys? I don't understand why people are so mad about them. I like them. I think they're nice. Emo Jalapeno says, the cow has beef. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. By the way, not a goatee. You can see it's not a goatee. Look. Not a goatee. It looks, even with the shadow, it looks like it. You see? Not a goatee. Baylaw says, man, this JT guy could probably make close to $11 million on his next contract at this rate. Yeah, maybe he does. You never know. He could be 39 years old and going, give me 11 mil. Right now, Brad. Oh, McMahon almost broke out for a breakaway there. And we got a shot. What a save! Joseph Wall with a Marty Brodeur mid-90s save. Just an absolute glove save and a beauty. Look at this. Provorov with his second big shot of the period. Oh, that was sexy. Woo! We're all bricked up, chat. Let's go. What a save. I have not seen a save like that. That's like Cujo, Belfour, Watt, Brodeur level. Oh, you never see those saves anymore. That was hot. Chat is bricked up, baby. Let's go. Love this. By the way, I have to give Columbus big credit here. They were outplayed significantly in the first period, but they have come back. Shots are a little more even now. Riley getting into it. But I think, was that Miles Wood or it's Charlie Coyle? Listen, Morgan Riley and Charlie Coyle have a history. Charlie Coyle was part of those Bruins teams that stuffed the Leafs into lockers and bullied us. Hayden says, I wish Minnesota never got rid of him. Yeah, and they traded Charlie Coyle for a third rounder. One of the more underrated steals in Boston Bruins history because of the value he brings. Like, listen, I don't want to get too romantic about third round, third line setters and stuff, but they make a huge difference in the playoffs. Look at what Florida got out of Brad Marchand, third line winger. You know, let's go, boys. All right, Michelli back around to McCabe. Lawton gets it. Oh, he's stopped up at the line. Here comes Sillinger. Here comes Olivier and Rowinski. Oh, this is dangerous. Oh, that was dangerous. And the Leafs are going to ice it? That's an icing. Didn't need the icing. Whew. I thought Rowinski and Olivier were going to score there, and I was going to be so sad. But a really, really good defensive play by Dakota Joshua to lift up Matthew Olivier's stick. And Matthew Olivier is built like a tree trunk. So that's not easy to do. Provorov somehow keeps that puck in. I don't know. That smelled offside to me, but we just gave the puck away in our own zone and got it back. Thank you, Dakota Joshua. Cleaned up a little bit of Jake McCabe's mess there, but Jake has been really good tonight. Michelli. McCabe drops it in. There's Tavares out there again, skating like a madman. Let's go. There's William Nylander. Gets knocked over by Kirill Marchenko because he's huge. Absolute freight train. One thing you got to say about Columbus is when they score big because they're all big people. Just a bunch of refrigerators out there. $13:20 left in the third period. It's going to be an exciting end to a game here. We got a tie game with 13 minutes left. And is that an icing? That is an icing. 13:04. Maya says, Leafs cornering the market on guys named Dakota. Yes, listen. We needed to compete with Vancouver, who were cornering the market on guys with the last name Pedersen. Get them all. 2 Eliases and 1 Marcus. Domi, McMahon, and Robertson out there. Robertson gives there's a phony face off by the linesman who sucks. Sorry, I don't even know who the linesman is, but it sucks when they do that, and I hate it. It's bad entertainment. Shot in by Morgan Riley. Domi gets the puck down to McMahon, and there's a gentle little backhand that flutters through the air and into the glove of Jet Greaves. By the way, SDP VIP, there have been a few SDPN memberships dropped tonight. And that gets you an extra episode every single week. And also, if you add yourself to the VIP ad-free tier, it means that you are hooked up with episodes that are early and episodes that are ad-free. Every single one of the Steve Dangle podcast episodes, and there's 4 every week if you include the VIP. Now, also, I want to remind you guys that we are going to Oshawa on Sunday for the Jennies game. And we're also going to be interviewing San Jose Sharks second rounder, Ho-Shi Wang. He is born in China, which is pretty exciting as hockey becomes a more international game. Kind of excited to talk to him about it. And I think, too, Bond Street. You got to see Bond Street. It's a really cool venue. So we're going to go to the game. We're going to do the game, and then we're going to do a live show at Bond Street. It's a blast. Last year, it was on a Sunday, and it was pretty drunken and fun. Like, people were just having a good time. It was for a Sunday night. I'm like, it's a school night, guys. And everybody was having a great time. So I can't wait. We're going to have a blast. Hayden, what do you got for me? Hayden said he cut all the highlights for the draft picks last year, which he did for our draft show. And he said Ho-Shi Wang's hit list, basically his highlight reel hits, are crazy. So come see him live. And by the way, you can buy the tickets right now in the link in the description. Party time. Come hang out with us. All right. So John Tavares has got a goal and an assist tonight. I don't know who of you has John Tavares in fantasy, but you probably got him in like the 5th or 6th round. And look at what he's done. Been an absolute dog out there. And could there be a better guy to show Easton Cowan the ropes than John Tavares? Easton Cowan is going to be a dog too. He's going to have to dig and get crazy. And I think John Tavares is like the perfect guy to show him around. That's great. Shot by Ekman Larson. Shots are now tied 22-22. You know, it's nice. William Nylander's been around. He's had some opportunities tonight, but it's nice that Cowan got in on one. You know, it's nice that the Leafs are finding confidence in some other players. And they, you know, listen, as much as I've been on Morgan Rielly for some of his defensive play this year, some of that, I guess, has to be Brandon Carlo not playing well, and he didn't play well, and I think he was injured. Carlo Riley's looked really good, and both of them are closing in on 20 points already. It's a really impressive kind of start for both of them. So I'll never hate on that. And the thing with Morgan Rielly is, listen, he's never going to be the best defensive defenseman. I don't expect that. I do expect you to score some, though. And I do expect you to play okay defense. He's been much, much better since paired with OEL. And OEL's just had a crazy start. He's been awesome. Now, here's Scott Laughton playing in, as I said, he's played in parts of 3 games this season, but he looks sharp tonight. Looks really good. Have loved him on the PK, especially in the first period. And he's made some really just smart plays. And that was one of the issues I think the Leafs had, you know, a couple weeks ago when things were really bad, and going into, you know, I guess earlier this week, is they were making like even a lot of the small decisions were just bad. Like, why would you do that kind of decisions? Scott Laughton kind of calms that down. He's also apparently a great guy, like a vibes guy. Any Flyers fans in the chat can back that up. He was a fan favorite in Philly. Oh, what a hit! Jake McCabe! Unbelievable! Oh, I can't wait to see a replay of that. Woo! Nice and clean, baby. Let's go. Toronto Maple Leafs hockey, experience it. Jake McCabe. Let's go. I love a good neutral zone hit. And here comes John Tavares, 1-on-2. Shot. It hits an ankle. He's fighting for it anyway because he's John Tavares. Woo! I'm still buzzing from that Jake McCabe hit. I'm so glad that Columbus didn't score in the ensuing scoring opportunity, because that would have ruined the vibe. 10:50 left in the third period. Rinsky, Provorov. Hayden says, thank God Olivier wasn't on the ice. If Jake McCabe had to fight for a clean hit like that, like that's an obvious clean hit, stop. Good hit. Yeah, like that's a monster. Wow. Man, we've had an 80s or 90s hit from Jake McCabe, like a total throwback. And then Joseph Wall had that, you know, Patrick Waugh 90s style glove save earlier. Feeling like a bit of a throwback tonight. I like it. It's fun. $10:30 left in the third. 23-22 are the shots. Dakota Joshua headmans the puck, and he gets a stick, somebody's stick, caught on his shoulder. He's caught a few sticks tonight. There's Jake McCabe out there again. Here's Scott Laughton to Joshua. Joshua's going to fight Provorov for that. Provorov will win that battle. Go Leafs, go chance breaking out in Toronto. What? Excuse me? Fans cheering? Oh, no. Oh, Dakota Mermis kind of got fooled by a really high chip in, and it went towards the net, took a weird bounce in Columbus' favor. And now the puck goes by the Columbus defenseman, Matejchuk, Yarncroke all over him, both pumping hard, and Matejchuk is able to grab that puck. Del Belbaluz drops it deep. Wall is out to play it. And, you know, something you're going to have to watch for this year is Joseph Wall playing the puck. It was part of the offseason plan. Is there a penalty being called here? Who's got too many men? Oh, it's the Leafs. Oh, guys. Are you stupid? Yes, you're stupid. Are you kidding me? Oh, the Leafs are going to the box for being a dumbass. Oh, I hate when they do this. Look, watch. How does that happen? You guys are men. How does that happen? So often. Anyway, Joseph Wall, one of the things that he had to work on was when Anthony Stolarz went down in the Panthers series, the Panthers knew that Woll couldn't handle the puck like Stolarz could. And so they would throw it into the corner and absolutely smash OEL, Tanev, Riley, Benoit, all those guys, just ground them to dust. And part of what could have saved them was part of which could have saved the Leafs is Joseph Woll being better at handling the puck. So he's getting out there. He's trying to do it more. He's still not great at it. But for him to be a truly great goaltender in this league and get that big fat contract that we all know everybody wants, he's going to have to learn. Oh, I hate when they get a too many men call, man. That drives me so crazy. Damn. All right, Hayden wants me to bring out the 8-ball, which has been disturbingly accurate. I don't know why. Hayden says, do the Leafs get a shorthanded goal? You know what? Every problem presents an opportunity, and I like the way Hayden thinks. Could this just mean that the Leafs get a shorthanded goal, which they don't really often get? But hey, let's see. Will the Leafs score a shorthanded goal on this too many men penalty? And the Magic 8-ball says, don't count on it. Well, we tried. James Stemler, Leafs must be first all-time in too many men penalties. I hope somebody tracks that. I would love to know the answer. I would love to know the answer. How did they do that? How did they even get 6 guys out there? Thankfully, Lawton doesn't have to serve that penalty. He's out there killing it instead, which is where we need him. I don't know who's in the box. I would imagine it's Matthias Michelli because he doesn't really kill penalties unless everybody's dead. Oh, almost a giveaway to Scott Lawton there, and he breaks it up again. And he gets it over to Steven Lorentz, who's got support from Jake McCabe. Steven Lorentz is in there 3-on-1. Hey, we'll take it. Kill that time. Kill that time. Monahan brings the puck across, gets it. They're wide open. Columbus comes in and they shoot. Somebody got a stick on it. Fantilli on the half board. Fantilli, who eats the Leafs alive at home. Fantilli, who is from Toronto. Oh, Monahan! Oh, I think Joseph Woll was able to keep this out. God bless that man. Joseph Woll. Let me see some brick walls in the chat. Are we bricked up, chat? Let's go. Joseph Woll, baby. That was great. Woo! Wow. I can't believe he was able to do that. They were all over him on that. Wow. Joseph Woll with the legs there. He had to clench his butt cheeks to keep his legs together like that with all those guys flying in on him. That's some butt strength. That's some bootay. Don't kid yourself. Brick wall, baby. Lawton wins the faceoff because he's a god. I'm telling you guys, you're going to fall in love with Scott Lawton. I love this guy already. I know he had a bit of a shaky start with the Leafs. Dude, this guy rocks. I love having him. I love having him in the lineup. He's only played in parts of 3 games. Marchenko along the half boards. Stetcher, Yarncroke, Joshua, and Murmis out there. Only one of these guys was a Leaf last year. Shot, and Marchenko puts it right into the glove of Joseph Woll. Less flash than the other glove save earlier, but still perfect. A lot of new blood in the Leafs lineup, especially with all these injuries, but there was a lot of new blood anyway coming out of training camp. Big save by Wool. Big save. I wonder, with having a guy like Lawton back, how does that affect the Leafs on the penalty kill? Having Stetcher out there who can wheel, how does that affect the Leafs? They needed a little more speed. They needed a little more smarts. Lawton wins another faceoff. Great job. Great job. Werenski gets it deep. Provorov at the high point down to Werenski. Johnson along the wall. Out to Provorov. Back to Johnson on the half wall. He's going to come out. Fakes the set. Shot to Provorov. Blocked by Scotty Lawton, who already broke his foot on a thing. Man, Scott Lawton is a dog. Maccelli misses the net. I hope Scott Lawton's okay. Please don't be hurt again. Scott Lawton broke his foot earlier this year. And he blocked it. And I wonder if that's the foot he broke. Wow. God. Guys, I'm telling you, you're going to fall in love with Scott Lawton. You're going to fall in love with Scott Lawton. How does Maccelli miss the net here? Oh, Matthias. And the team has given Scott Lawton a lot of love. They should. Oh, Nylander strips. Oh, not able to get a strong shot off, but the Nylander, Cowan, Tavares line, all fresh out there to take a shift, and they're going to go hard. And by the way, Mr. William Nylander is wearing an assistant captain A. I think that's sort of an important thing because that's a guy that we didn't think was ever going to wear a leadership badge publicly for the Toronto Maple Leafs, but obviously so many guys being out, he's wearing one, and as well he should. He's been here a decade. 6:33 left in the third period. There have been chances both ways in this period. Cowan to Tavares is the goal that evened it up. And it was a great give and go. Absolutely spectacular. Cowan creates a giveaway. Tavares is open. What a move! John Tavares! Oh, and he gets stripped at the last minute. He might have dangled Jet Greaves there, but Columbus's defense is able to take the puck off of him. And that all happens because Tavares and Cowan forced a turnover. Nylander's at the point. Leafs still have the puck. Stetcher down low to Cowan. Nylander behind the net. And they're going to go for it. Oh, Max Domi with a shot. What a setup by Will Nylander. Stetcher to Nylander. Shot. And Jet Greaves sees it the whole way. Some great offensive zone pressure by the Toronto Maple Leafs. We've not had the chance to say that much this year. 5-on-5 offensive zone pressure. That lasted about a minute. And it was because Easton Cowan and John Tavares said, nope, we're making you turn this over. And we're going to keep pushing. Nylander found Domi. And listen, I know Domi drives people nuts. Max Domi at his best, when he starts shooting and has great vision, that's the guy I'm hoping for. He's got a great shot. I wish he would use it more. He really does. Let's go. Chat, are we cooking? Let's go, chat. Oh. Gabe says, Tavares wants that Olympic invite. Dude. I feel so bad because Team Canada's they're so stacked, but he has played so well to start the year. I just don't know that there's a chance. Aiden says you would take John Tavares over Nick Suzuki? Really? Right now you would. That's crazy. That's crazy. I mean, listen, I admittedly have not watched a lot of Habs hockey while they've been losing. So, by the way, what is the score in the Habs game? It was 3-1 Washington when they pulled Montembeault. It's now 5-4. Look at it. Good for Montreal trying to come back. Young, exciting team should do that. Ian says Easton Cowan and John Tavares for the rest of the year. I agree. Easton Cowan, John Tavares, not Matthew Dice. Easton Cowan, John Tavares, William Nylander. When Matthews gets back and Nyes gets back, assuming they're actually healthy, not bullshit Leafs feeding you a line that they're healthy when they're not, and they're playing at their best, I'd love to get another look at Matthews, Robertson, Nyes. Love to get another look. I think that'd be fun. And if that doesn't work, because I know, listen, Nick Robertson is always going to give you 100%. I never watch a game where Nick Robertson's playing and go, yeah, he dogged it tonight. Never. Nylander is out there, by the way, with Robertson and Domi. I think they're just going to double shift him because he's William Nylander, and why wouldn't you? I never feel like Nick Robertson's not trying, and if he got more opportunities in the top 6, I think he's going to score more. Is he ever going to be a perfect player? No. Is he ever going to be a heavy forechecker? No. But do I think Nick Robertson's capable of 20 goals and 50 points? Absolutely. Absolutely all day. And I think you got to give Matthews another option. Like, Nyes is a horse. Matthews, obviously, when he's at his best, is a crazy shot. So does Nick Robertson. Oh, Robertson back for Wylde. And that puck was redirected. If it had gone on net, I don't think Jet Greaves saw it. But alas, it missed. And here come the Columbus Blue Jackets. Charlie Coyle flips the puck in. Oh, and it's a bouncer. And Joseph Woll is able to hold it up. Sean Monahan was right there. Right there. Woo! By the way, welcome to all the new people that have joined in the last little bit here. I think we're up 200 or 300 viewers. So happy that you guys are all joining for the last part of the game. It's an exciting end. Tied 2-2. Scott Lawton is going to come out and take this defensive zone face-up. And here's what the Lawton line needs to do with Steven Lorentz and Calle Yarncroke. Turn this into an offensive zone face-off. Your entire job on this shift is to win the face-off. The linesman tonight just doesn't seem to be able to drop the puck on time. We just keep resetting. I can't believe this doesn't bother more people. It bothers me so much. Can you tell? Oh, that's Tavares. So Tavares is out there with Lawton and Cowan. Interesting. What is Craig Berube doing? Very interesting. Anyway, long story short, I'm hoping that this just turns into an offensive zone faceoff. That's what I'm hoping for. Giggling Cat, have you seen the new Winter Classic jerseys? I kind of love how the Cats high-res yellow, prison stripes, and the Rangers jerseys, but they're a little boring. I like the Panthers jerseys. I like the Rangers jerseys. I have no hate for them. It's so, guys, go look up Detroit and Chicago's black and red jerseys that were so bad a couple years ago. They're getting, I got to give the Rangers credit. I got to give the Panthers credit. They're creative. I also would like to see less jersey variations in the NHL. Maybe I'm an old fart that way, but I just can we just play in our jerseys? I don't know. Like the Toronto Maple Leafs, I'm so glad just played Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys. We don't need 40 million Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys. They tried that. Most of them weren't that great. Some of them have been cool. Here we go. William Nylander to Tavares. And that goes off a skate. Great play, though. This line is clicking. That's a good sign for Toronto. They need it. They need a first line. It's a lot of guys who are out right now. Stetcher. Cowan gets the puck deep, which Berube loves. Loves. There's Domi, McMahon, Robertson. If you need a goal, they're the guys to ask. However, not great defensively. Not excellent. Be concerned if they don't have the puck. Robertson. And can't get the... Yeah, so this is the problem with this line. If they don't get it deep, which they have not been enough, Columbus is able to reload. And look, Werenski created a great opportunity there. Lawton is out there. I don't know that you can keep playing that line together. I just don't think they have it tonight. 3 minutes to go. Robertson has the puck in his skates, didn't know where it was. Better do something with it. Columbus is all over him. Benoit's got it. Columbus is forechecking hard at the moment. And the Leafs are unable to carry the puck through the neutral zone again. They're going to have to arrest this trend pretty quickly. McCabe in the corner. 2 Blue Jackets all over him. Columbus skating like they took a Super Mario star, and they're just on fire right now. Leafs cannot deal with them at the moment. And the Columbus Blue Jackets are sort of tilting the ice in their favor, needing the Toronto Maple Leafs to grab possession. Cowan, Lorentz out there along with Benoit and Riley. I feel like we're at a halfway change here. This bizarre line combinations. I feel uncomfortable with Morgan Riley playing with anyone other than Oliver Ekman-Larsson. Morgan Riley dumps the puck down. Yes, it's on Jet Greaves. I guess we got the all clear to get the line change done, but the Leafs have got to control the puck through the neutral zone. It's going to burn them here if they're not careful. There's only a minute 52 left to go. You don't want to be giving up the goal this late, especially after a good comeback and a really, really great start to this game. Cowan and Tavares and Nylander have looked great. They're on the ice right now. And again, Columbus is able to reload and throw the puck down deep. Cowan along the half boards. He's got OEL with him. Monahan gets the puck deep to OEL, to nobody. And again, Columbus is able to keep this alive, and what a great opportunity. Thankfully, by the grace of God, it didn't go in. Joseph Wylde got a piece of that. Leafs puck possession in this last half of the period has been awful. All right, we got a minute to go. Nylander and Cowan and Tavares are out there, but it's only Nylander 1-on-4. Puck goes into the netting, and William Nylander very intelligently is able to create an offensive zone faceoff. Now, the Leafs, because of the injuries in the lineup, hey, Tavares and Nylander are tired. Let's put Nyes and Matthews out there. Well, they don't have that option. So what do? Do you put Scott Lawton at center because he can win one between McMahon and Robertson, who are good shooters and good rush players? Do you put out you can't put Yarncroke or Dakota Joshua or those guys out there. Do you put Domi out there? I'm sure they'll put Domi out there. By the way, Cat, the Cats fan. Oh, I called it. Lawton. Lawrence, Lawton, and Yarncroke, which means I think the Leafs are saying we're probably going to overtime here. Cat, the Cats fan, dropping 20 SDPN memberships, and the Columbus Blue Jackets have iced the puck with 46.2 seconds to go. Maybe Scott Lawton can be the hero here. Hey, Cat, we love you. Thank you for gifting those super chats. Giggling Cat, also Cat, the Cats fan, as I will always call her. Panthers win. Shut up for Bob. Drinks on me, chat. You rock, Cat. We love you. Elena Schwind, welcome to SDP VIP. Thank you for signing up. We really appreciate you. It's Antlick. Sweden is going to be a real sleeper choice for the Olympics. Just saying. Hey, Jesse and I talked about it on yesterday's podcast. Watch out for Leo Carlson, baby. Tavares, Nylander, Cowan for the last shift. Fabro is able to get the puck away from Nylander. Nylander gets the puck back from Fabro. Fabro all over him. Quite the battle going on there. 30 seconds to go in this game. Or at least this period. Because it might be going overtime here. Tavares back for Riley. Riley unable to handle that. 15 seconds to go in the third period. And I think we're going to get a second Leafs game into overtime. Assuming nothing crazy happens in the next 10 seconds. Here comes Scott Lawton, who's had a great night. He's going to get a shot here, or he should have shot. I don't know why he's going for the toe drag there. Just shoot the puck, dude. All right. Now, I want to say this. Leafs got away. Leafs got away with those last 3 minutes. Those last 3 minutes did not look good. There was a lot of, we're just going to try to squeak the puck out. And Columbus reloaded and came back in, reloaded and came back in. The game changes completely now. It's 3-on-3. Leafs have to use what speed they have. Cowan, Nylander, I think, are gassed from the last shift. So I don't know if you start with them. Do you start with a combination of, again, Scott Lawton was out there, but you want to win this faceoff, right? If Columbus wins this faceoff, they're going to rag that puck. And Adam Fantilli and his unbelievable speed and his just ability to score big goals in Toronto. I don't think you want that. You don't want Charlie Coyle to get that puck because he's a bit of a possession god as well. Do you do a defensive, or do you go all offense? If you were to go all offense, you could go like Domi McMahon Stetcher, or Domi McMahon OEL. But I think you save OEL. I think you go maybe if Nylander and Tavares are not ready to go, then you go Domi, McMahon, Riley, and then the second has got to be Tavares, Nylander, OEL, and then third shift, Lawton, Cowan with Stetcher. What do you think about that? Nylander is tied with Matthews and Matt Sundin for most regulars and OT goals in franchise history. Let's go get that victory. By the way, William Nylander tied that record on Tuesday night against the St. Louis Blues, and they're showing that rock star shit kind of goal. By the way, I also want to say this is a game where the Leafs have scored a point in the standings. And you might sit and laugh and go, haha, that's silly, Adam. Why would you bring that up? Well, they didn't have a lot of points for about 5 games there, so I'm excited about it. You got to take what you can get. I need the Leafs to win this game. So Tavares will be out there. I'm assuming Willie's going to be out with him. Yep. Now, do they have OEL or Riley? Who did they go with? I guess there was enough break in there for you to get it. So it's Jake McCabe out there. Interesting. McCabe's been active tonight. He's had some interesting shots. Strong defensively. He's gotten involved. Immediately takes the puck behind the net. Smart play. Leafs are going to break it out. Drops it for William Nylander, and Jake McCabe immediately heads off. Riley is out there. Nylander crisscrossing over to Tavares, and Tavares does not see it, but it was a great play by William Nylander. Great play. Nylander gets stripped. Now we got a 2-on-2, 3-on-2. Here we go. Oh, big save. Another big save. Joseph Wall. And here we go. Scott Lawton is going to be able to skate up the ice. We got a 2-on-1, 2-on-2-ish. Lawton shoots the puck. Cowan is out there with Lawton and Riley. Cowan is going to try to find Lawton. Oh, and it was another great play. Leafs going for the cross-crease pass twice in the first minute. Lawton is able to change. Domi now out there. It's got to be guts, guys. We got to be guts. By the way, welcoming all the new viewers who are coming in. We've gone up like 500 viewers in the last 10 minutes. Thank you all for joining. Love having you here. Gripper Nation welcomes you. Let's go get a Leafs victory. No offense to all the Blue Jackets fans in the chat. You know I love you. But I got to root for my guys. Provorov tries to get around Domi. Domi all over him using his speed. Johnson, shot. Big save by Wall. Cowan able to clear that rebound. OEL gets it. Easton Cowan and Max Domi are going to have 2-on-1 here with Ivan Provorov. Shoot it, Easton. Oh, what a great save and a great play by Easton Cowan. Cowan's had a big night tonight. This is a big boy game from Easton Cowan. Tries to get the puck centered to McCabe. Cowan's still not out of energy. You know he's going to want to change here, but he's all over Kent Johnson. 3 minutes to go in overtime. 2 minutes has felt like 2 hours. There's been some excitement in this overtime. Sillinger brings the puck across. Former Tate McRae dater, Cole Sillinger. Album inspirer, Cole Sillinger. Tavares is going to get the puck to Nylander. This is their second shift of OT. Remember, they scored last time. Oh, what a great play by Willie to JT, and it just goes wide. Don't know if Jack Greaves would have had it, but it didn't hit the net anyway. Morgan Riley to Nylander outside the blue line. Nylander leaves the puck for Tavares and almost gets stripped. It does get stripped by Coyle. Bit of a flub there. Leafs are going to go for a change. 2 minutes to go. Matejchuk. Lawton, who's had a great comeback game tonight. Here comes Marchenko, the refrigerator. Morgan Riley with a great defensive play on him. But Columbus retains possession. Rowinski at the point. He brings the puck out. Michelli and Lawton out there. Listen, man, I'm telling you, there's a lot of injured Toronto Maple Leafs right now. Guts, baby. Show me some guts. Go get that win. Go get that win, boys. Werenski breaking in. Big save by Joseph Wall. Wow. Michelli brings the puck out. You know he's going to need a change, as will Lawton. Michelli makes the change. OEL, Domi, Michelli. Now he's going to change. Smart. Keep the puck. Minute 12 to go in overtime. OEL, Domi, Robertson is going to be out there too. Let's get a Robertson shot. Let's get a Robertson shot here. Robertson's got OEL open. OEL at the point with the puck. Domi crosses the blue line. Well, crosses over the blue line. Tries to get the puck into Robertson. Robertson grabs it off the boards. They're trying to muscle him off it, but Robertson's skating's a lot stronger than it used to be. Oh, and Domi tried to feed it into OEL. Now Columbus is going to get a fast break. Domi's going to get beaten. Joseph Wall. Oh. And Adam Fantilli. I told you guys to watch out for Adam Fantilli. Oh, man. Adam Fantilli comes to Toronto and eats. He sets up the first goal, scores the second goal, and scores the game winner. He just torched Max Domi on that. Absolutely torched him. Got to give the Leafs credit there. Played a really, really good game. Columbus came back, played a really strong game. Strong games from Lawton, strong games from Wall, strong game from Easton Cowan, but it is not enough. Wow. Joseph Wall. Unbelievable. Nice to see the Leafs get some goaltending. Wow. Listen, Max Domi got torched here. He made a good play into I think that was McCabe, but he needs to be back way faster. The fact that he doesn't cover off Fantilli there, that is, I hate to say it, that is on Max Domi. Watch. Like, what are you looking for? What are you looking for? And he knows it. Fantilli he caught Domi looking. Oh. Listen. You got to take small victories if you're the Leafs because they came off of a 5-game losing streak. Last 2 games, they've taken 3 out of a possible 4. That's how you got to look at it. That's how you got to look at it. However, we do have to have a conversation about Max Domi. And listen, he's an offensive player. He's not a perfect player, but he's getting caved this year, guys. He is. That play, Fantilli shouldn't have beat him that clean. Fantilli might beat you. Shouldn't have been that clean. That's not an insult. It's more of just critical. Max, you have the speed to catch that guy. You got to catch that guy. Well, listen, ladies and gentlemen, it was a fun game. And so far this week, during Adam Wylde streams with producer Hayden, Leafs have taken 3 or 4 points. We'll take it. We'll take it. There was some guts shown in that game. We'll take it. I loved Easton Cowan's game tonight. Easton Cowan looked like a big leaguer tonight. Easton Cowan looked like he belonged. Easton Cowan looks like he needs to be on this team the rest of the year. I want to see him on that. I don't want to see any more of this bullshit of Calle Yarncroke starting with John Tavares and William Nylander. What are we doing? What are we doing, Craig? Just play them. I need everybody to give Joseph Wall his flowers. He was awesome tonight. I need everybody to give Scott Lawton his flowers tonight. He was awesome. Leafs did not convert in that dominant first period, and I think that hurt them. You outshoot a team, what was it, 15-5? You need to score. Columbus didn't have a high danger scoring chance until midway through the second period. And guess who it was? Adam Fantilli. He'd already scored at that point, by the way. Or he'd already assisted at that point. Fantilli comes to Toronto. He eats, man. Columbus Blue Jackets, they always have the Leafs number. Always have the Leafs number. And tonight, when Fantilli was on the ice tilted Fantilli, Marchenko, Voronkov. It did. It did. There's just no denying it. So listen, I want to say, guys, I've had an absolute blast with you tonight. That was a really fun overtime. That was a hard-fought game. The Leafs are not great. But the Leafs had a lot of injuries, and what I loved about it tonight, and again, we're taking up positives from a loss, there was guts. There was guts in tonight's game. I'll take that. I'll take guts any night because, man, through October, they didn't show us guts very often. Nick Shannon, 28, says, Columbus fan here. You guys It's always a really good game against you guys. Your fans do really travel well when you come here. Maybe because we're right across the lake from a lot of Leaf fans. I think that's true, Nick. I think that's true. Leaf fans travel well because it's so much cheaper to go to any other market. Any other market. To all the Columbus Blue Jackets fans that came in today, thanks so much. You guys were a blast. Producer Hayden, great job. Giggling Cat says, less than half the chat has liked this video. If you are on mobile, minimize the chat. Click like. Just follow the insane mustache down and click the like button. Yeah, listen, might be a little late for the likes, but I do appreciate that, Cat. Cool Man Lanny, chat, we did not cook. Cool Man Lanny, we cooked for a bit. It felt good. Almost felt like we had it there. Leafs really were the dominant side in the overtime, too. Well, listen, I had a blast with you guys. Gripper Nation, you were spectacular tonight. We'll see you next week. Remember, I'm doing multiples of these every single week now. And the next one is going to be Steve Dangle on Saturday night. So be prepared for that. Steve, who is coming off a pretty nasty flu of the stomach variety. Not fun. But he's alive and he's well. And we will have a brand new STP tomorrow. We will have a VIP that comes out either tomorrow or Saturday morning. And also Agent Provocateur in person with Mr. Alan Walsh. Also tomorrow. Probably released tomorrow night. So looking forward to it. To Robert Malloy, great job managing the chat. To Hayden Matheson, great job on managing the stream. Shout out to my producers because I love them, Hayden and Robert, and I love you. Thank you, guys. I will see you on these streams next week, and I'll see you on the SDP tomorrow night.